right, everybody, welcome back. Facecheck right at you, 10 a.m. ish here in the on the Pacific Coast time. LCS Week 7 in the books. Your boy Digon with you with Zyrene, Dom, and Loco to give you the quick takes, the genuine takes on what went down. Week 7, to be honest, I think we capped last week's show saying not going to be a lot of games that we're interested in day 1. Day 2, we're looking at a couple of those games. I don't even remember which games we were looking at because they were snoozers. I think it was like the FlyQuest 100 Thieves game, and 100 Thieves just pooped on FlyQuest. But we've got like 3 games that really stuck out from last week. Loco, I know that you wanted to hit on a couple of them, but what was your overall impression on Week 7?
On Week 7? Wow, worry for some teams. Like, holy fuck, am I worried for TSM? And, oh my god, Golden Guardians, like, I still don't really understand what they were trying to accomplish with their trade, but their bot lane looks really bad too. Like, some of the teams that I thought would shape up nicely, like TSM and Golden Guardians, like, they went to absolute shit.
That's right. So what happens when you get rid of the second best AD carry in the league for some guy?
Just host the show, Daniel. Don't have opinions on players.
Dom, what did you think of Week 7 overall?
I was just surprised at like the performances of a lot of teams, to be honest. Like Optic played better than I expected. Like I wasn't expecting Optic to come back. I thought they were kind of like going to be one of the teams that drops. I'm pretty worried for Golden Guardians now because Golden Guardians and 100 Thieves, I'm pretty sure they're tied now. They're both 6-8.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think that 100 Thieves actually has a much higher chance to make it. I think FlyQuest is pretty much doomed. They're done. TSM looks worse than I expect. And then, TL just looks by far head and shoulders above like every other team. Like it looks like they're just going to win the whole split handedly.
Aiden, quick thoughts before we get into specifics?
Why the fuck are CLG and Optic good? Like I'm still trying to figure it out. Like Optic, it looks like Meteos, but CLG, it still kind of looks like Wiggly as well. I don't know if I'm like biased towards junglers, but like these two teams, and I don't think I think these two teams want to win really badly, and they don't troll themselves in draft, like some of the other teams that are up at the top. So I feel like these two teams are like getting their shit together, especially at the right time here. But it's a turnaround split for CLG.
Well, speaking of CLG, that was one of the big games that kind of popped off here. It was the CLG Cloud9 game, and I think all of us kind of chalked it up to Cloud9 just cleaned this one up. They looked dominant. Sven's looked great. Wiggly is their best player, but Sven has shown his value on Cloud9 over and over again. This split, especially when they've been swapping in Blabber, and then you see the difference between the Blabber and the Blabber C9 and the Sven's V9. It's not quite the case. You did a pretty funny thing in our chat there, Zyrene. You clipped out Better Jungler Wins. That was the title of the matchup going into the week. And Wiggly and the rest of the guys did a solid job. Ruin had himself a game where he's able to not look like he was just getting pounded the whole time on Rise. And CLG looks pretty good.
Yep.
Oh,
I'm still trying to piece it together, dude. I still don't know. Because like Ruin in that first game they had, I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Against the Malphite, I was like, what is this? What the holy
Sunday
shit?
game? Yeah, that was really bad. Like I don't know how you could possibly get solo kill. Like, I mean, I guess it's possible. I've seen Impact die in that matchup too. I just feel like this is like the problem with players that play Jason NA is like to play Jason NA, you can't really give up advantages versus good teams. Like, sure, it works in NA to like play fucking Jason to Malphite, get solo killed, and then you just like win the game if your team is better. But realistically, I don't think that is like something that is excusable or like possible on an international stage. Like if you're playing that matchup, like if you're playing Jace, you have to be able to like get a CS lead, get turret pressure, like win the 1v1, like be winning the side lane. But we just can't do that here for some reason. I don't know what it is about like NA Jace. It's been a meme forever, but every Jace player, like even the Koreans that play Jace in NA are bad at Jace. I don't understand. Like it doesn't make sense.
I was super scared when he started it off and like even before he got killed because I'm like, they don't really play to Ruin at all. And they have a Jace top lane. And then their bottom lane looks like it's like, you know, they're just going to try to survive with Sona and Tom Kench. I think Cloud9 did like half the work for them by engaging on the bottom lane and then just having it turned around. Because Sona TK is like mega peel for themselves. So I think the game just got destroyed there because Cloud9 handed it to them going after that lane. Because they were not going to play through top lane. Ruin was like not going to get some massive advantage on Jace. And I think Cloud9 were just way too eager. So
Dude, Cloud9 bottom is fucking ass.
They're so bad. They're
Oh
so.
my
I
God.
don't understand why their bot lane is randomly bad. I thought Zeyzal and like Sneaky are good players, but then they just don't ever win lane anymore, or like go even in lane, or like CS. Like I don't know, they're just always fucking losing.
God,
How?
watching their Pro V makes my brain hurt. Holy shit. I've never seen Sneaky be this bad ever. Like, it's actually fucking amazing how bad he is right now. And also, Zeyzal and Sneaky are really disconnected in how they play. Like, they're bad individually, and they're also bad when they're together. Like, their synergy is also at non-existent.
It's a weird thing, right? Because we almost took them for granted, I would say, like as a solid lane. Hey, they're at least going to go even, if not win the lane. And it's just been a slow downturn for that bot lane. And as much as I'm on the definitely hype train, like I think, are you running out of ways to motivate a veteran player like Sneaky to get good? Because you're watching the pro view, they're seeing the pro view as well. It's like what's going on? What's going on? And it doesn't seem like there's an answer there for the bot side.
God, Sneaky can't be that delusional. Like, Sneaky, like, is hard to read as a person because he's always memey whenever you talk to him, or he's memey whenever you see him on stream. But, like, him as, like, a genuine person is he's, like, self-aware of, like, how people are doing. He's, like, assesses his skill level really well. So I cannot imagine Sneaky's like, yeah, I'm playing fine. So I don't know, man. And it's not like Sneaky's someone that goes out often, too. Like, other than cosplay, streaming, and playing scrims, like what is he doing?
I mean, he's playing some other games. Like he was playing TFT last night. Like I don't know if it's that though. Like I feel like he's still putting in the hours in league. I just feel like I don't know if he's the type of player where like if things are going bad for him, he'll put in like the extra work to like ensure. I feel like he just kind of like does his regimen, where he scrims and then he streams and then next day he'll like scrim and then he'll play his stream games and then he'll like maybe play like another game at the end of one of his streams, and then he just does the same thing where like I feel like he doesn't go into like panic mode where it's like I need to like not be streaming and like only playing solo, like finish scrims and then only play solo queue until I'm like feel like I'm good again, feel like I'm just like gonna be shitting on all the 80s, and then once that starts happening and you like have re-solidified yourself as one of the top 80 carries in NA, then you go back to like streaming more and playing other games and stuff like that. Like I don't know if he has that like panic mode in there.
And to be fair, like it's not like the game broke through them, as we know that like was happening through Golden Guardians, right? The game isn't broke through them. It's just we're just not used to seeing them not be successful. Because across the map, I think it was an across the map kind of like goal deficit for Cloud9 in this team composition.
Yeah, but the problem is like what like they're playing lanes like. Okay, so in the game versus CLG, right? The one that we're talking about right now, you're playing against Sona Tom, right? So if you're playing against Sona Tom and you're playing, like, you're playing against a Sona Tom, like, you have to pick something that abuses the Sona Tom. Like, you can't just pick something that's going to go even in lane and then get to mid game and then the Sona just becomes the most OP champion in the game. And they like, don't get an advantage through that lane. Like, they're actually getting, like, borderline out-rotated sometimes. Like, they don't even have lane pressure versus the Sona. Like, they don't even actually even have the push at certain points. Somehow in one of the fights, like, Zeyzal is like 100 HP. It's like, I don't even know what happened to him. Like, how can you be that chunked and not be able to like make it to a team fight? When Sven was trying to contest the dragon, like Wiggly just started dragon, I think level 5, and Sven shows up and he's like, hey dude, there's a Jarvan just soloing the dragon, and then the Tom Kench Sona is beating your Braum bot lane there. And it just makes no sense. It's like, okay, so how can, like, what are you doing versus Sona lane? If you can't play against Sona, you just have to ban it. I feel like you can't just go even versus it and expect them to just win the game.
Yeah, even after nerfs, like I think that was something that they didn't respect. We're talking about like Cloud9 drafts, right? Even last week, I feel like they definitely trolled themselves in draft a bit. Whether it's the picks or the bans, Reaper, I think Dom brought up the argument last week where it was like, what is he doing? Or is he actually like a genius at drafting, or are they just bad? Because I
hate this Vlad pick. I don't know why they keep on
Vlad Malphite.
I mean, I kind of see like the Malphite makes sense. I like the Lee Malphite. I think that can make sense if you put like a control mage mid, right? Because the Malphite is like kind of viewed as like a soft counter to Jace in a way where it's like it's not gonna like solo kill the Jace in lane, right? There's no way that there'd be a player in LCS that would be like terrible enough to die 1v1 to a Malphite level 4, right? So because that's impossible, what you do is you play something that like can gank it, and then at level 6 Malphite just ults him and you just one-shot him over and over again. So every time Malphite has ult, you have massive kill threat on the Jace. And because of that, Jace ends up like not being like, because of the threat of the Malphite ult, Jace ends up being like scared to push the turret and like try to chunk turrets and get plates. And then it just kind of ends up in like that even farm situation where the tank is going to outscale the Jace and you just get to team fights with the Malphite. But then when I feel like when you pick like the Vladimir with it, it's just like, oh, now we just have like this mid laner that's just going to lose mid lane and just not have any pressure, and it limits your abilities to make plays because you're always afraid of, oh, their mid's going to come and kill us if we like go too far.
Yeah, I don't know if they're trying to do something cute and be like, oh, Vladimir could be top, it could be mid, because I think that should have just been a Corki. Like, they should have just blind pick Corki there. It's completely neutral. It's fine. You have Braum, so Corki plus Braum is just a fucking bonkers combo in the mid game. So I think they could have been fine doing that, but they tried to get like really cute, and I don't know why.
I also want to hit on the Sona point more. So whenever people think Sona, people think stuff like Sona Taric, and that's when people learned about Sona. So they're like, oh, when people pick Sona Taric, you just abuse them early, like you dive them or you crush them in lane. Sona Kench is a different monster altogether. Like, Sona Taric was so efficient because even without gold, like, that comp scaled really fucking well. But for Sona Kench, Sona and Kench don't really do things well together. Like, they're a good duo in team fights. Like, kind of you can protect the Sona, but one thing that's really good about it is the laning is a lot better. So, like, Sona Kench, maybe it shouldn't beat the Sivir Braum, but, like, it having a decent lane versus Sivir Braum wasn't that weird. It just... I agree with what Dom said. Why are you giving Team Sona if you know your bot lane is ass and you can't abuse the Sona? Like, because if you're trying to abuse Sona Kench, you go into, like, Nico Pike or, like, Varus Pike territory, and that's not what Sneaky and Zayzo is going to play.
Yeah, I mean, or like, I would like to see, like, maybe a Varus Braum or a Lucian Braum, maybe a more lane-dominant AD carry. Like, I don't think that obviously Sona Tom is better laning than Taric Sona. Like, I think Tom is just a better champion than Taric overall, but I still don't think that there's a world where you can't push that in, or you like should be getting that chunked in lane. Like, it just seems like they're just losing way too hard based off what the matchup should be. And if the matchup is actually that bad and you like can't really get an advantage on Sona Tom, no matter like if you have the counter pick, then you just have to ban it. Then it's just the most OP shit, which I think that could be like a possibility. I think Sona is potentially the most broken champion in the entire game. So yeah, like maybe it is not possible to abuse it hard enough, but the fact that they just like leave it up and then it's like, okay, like whenever I see a Sona go through, I'm just like, okay, let's see if this team is let's see if the enemy team is going to be good enough to like abuse this Sona or get some advantage versus Sona. And it feels like it almost never happens in NA. Like, I don't know what Sona's win rate is in NA, but I feel like it has to be like pretty fucking high at this point.
But the pick rate is so high too. Like, the presence she has is ridiculous. And it's like only in NA as well. Like, we just latch onto this, like China, Korea, EU, like they don't play it at the same rate as us, and it even got nerfed, and we're still like hugging this, like this is what we play. And then there's teams like Cloud9 that gave it up, and then they're like, no, we're not good enough to know how to beat this, so we should still be picking it.
I feel like this has always been a problem with NA though. Like, whenever something gets nerfed, if it's like annoying to play against, I feel like we never have the execution to like play the counters to it well. Like, I feel like other teams are scary, right? Like, you pick Sona into G2 and like it's like, oh shit, they're gonna fuck you up. Like, they're gonna pick like some Syndra Pike or some shit and just murder you in this fucking lane. And they're just and they want to be in that situation. It feels like other teams are confident, like, yes, please pick fucking Sona so we can just annihilate you. But in NA, it just feels like that's not like, we don't want to risk the execution. It's like, no, we'd rather be on the other side of it where we're like, all right, come fuck us up. Like, see if you can kill us a bunch of times in the lane. We're gonna hug this turret. Let's see if you can actually play the game well enough to dive us and do all that type of stuff.
Yeah, once teams get past a certain level of execution and they can consistently do it versus Sona, like, Sona doesn't really become viable as a pick. So yeah, most teams aren't at that level of execution, and everyone's so mistake prone. So the Sona lane often doesn't get punished, or does get punished and just gets to mid game without the game really snowballing, and you still have a Sona mid game, which is fucking disgusting. Yeah. NA.
The reactive play of NA. So that's the CLG Cloud9 game. Hit a lot on the Cloud9 stuff. Taking a look at another game that was big. It was TSM and Optic. Optic coming away with the win here against TSM, and it was kind of, again, one of those games where we thought it was just going to be an afterthought. Optic's on the way down. TSM finally locking in Acadian. Things look good. But that wasn't the case here. Optic coming away with the win. What were your thoughts on that, Dom?
I was really surprised. I thought Acadian had a really off week, personally. I thought he had a really, really bad week. I even in the game that they played versus Golden Guardians, I thought he was just off. So, yeah, I think that just really, like, snowballed against him. I don't know. TSM just didn't look good in either of the games, in my opinion. Like, I just feel like they don't really have their shit together right now. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that if you have an off day and you're playing against Meteos, you're just going to lose the game for your team. Like, that's how I feel about it. Is like if you're like any slight bit off, then you're going to get exploited. Mm-hmm. So it becomes like a pretty easy game for them. But I also think the bottom lane played like shit too. I think like Sven dying in that bot lane, I was just like, you're Sivir, Tom Kench versus Ezreal Lux, and you didn't get like poked out or anything. You got killed twice. Jesus Christ. You have a spell shield. You have the Tom Kench who can eat you. Like, I
mean, Sven's been into it. It literally looks like Sven's just been tilted from throwing Game 5 of Spring Finals like until now. Like, it just feels like he's just been a completely different player since then. He just makes so many mistakes. Like, you see him die in lane like randomly. You see him die in team fights randomly. Like, even in the mid game, he'll be pushing turrets and then just get TP'd on and just die over and over. It just feels like there's something wrong with his ability to like assess danger right now. Like, it seems like he's just dying all the time to like everything.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, you meet someone new, they're great, and then you guys end up smashing.
Oh god!
And then
I knew where this was going so quickly.
You start getting second thoughts. You start getting second thoughts after you smashed, and then you're like, I don't think this is a relationship for me. And you're trying to get out, and then she's like, I'm pregnant, and you're like, what the fuck? So you're like staying for the baby, and then like things are great like at first, and then like you refound love, like that's TSM making it to finals, and then it gets to the stage where the baby is like 1 or 2 and like won't shut the fuck up and like is always fucking crying
and
at
you
night.
Realize the baby's a different race than you, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? What happened?
That's not where it was going, but
okay, that's where I was going.
You want to leave, but you have some commitment. Like, you committed. Like, you said you would stay, but you want to go back
to figure out the baby's a different race.
Man, all babies,
are these the TSM fans? What are we talking about here?
No, you want to
TSM fans? Like,
what are we talking about?
No, you want to go back to Europe, but the baby's your contract, okay? The first year was great, and then what is it? The baby, like, and the baby's the contract, so Sven can't leave, and he's stuck there. Oh my god, what the fuck? Why did the race thing come in, Dom?
No, I'm just wondering. I'm like, where's it going, dude? Like, what is gonna be the issue?
Oh my god!
I thought you realized that your girlfriend pulled the Force and CD2 time on you, and you gotta get out then.
Oh my god! No. I was going more so the route of you. Sven committed to TSM. And then the first year was not that great, and then the finals was great, and then now he still wants to go back to Europe, but he's just kind of stuck here. Holy shit!
So you think Sven is checked out? You think he's just like not there?
He's checked out.
You don't think so? Holy fuck!
I don't think so either. I think he's.
I think he's just playing bad. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
He seems like not like. I mean, he's still grinding fucking solo. He's doing what he's always done.
This motherfucker has never played bad in his entire life, and this one time he's just like playing bad. Like, he's been consistent ever since he's been a AD carry for OG, and like this one split, this is literally this one split where he's like fucking god awful.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I still see him like putting in the effort though, so I don't think that he's checked out. I feel like he's also just not the type of player that would check out. I really wouldn't be worried about that. I would just be worried about him just like not being good anymore. More than like him being just like mentally like not there. I feel like he's a player with like a decent amount of drive to be like the best. It's just not happening.
Yep, I completely agree. I don't think he checks out. Like, he's not that type of player. He's just playing poorly. Like, and I also think that
play poorly.
What I was also going to say that I think that TSM, if Sven were not playing well, they would try to bench him. They have enough like power as a TSM in terms of name and pull that they would be able to find somebody very quickly if they don't think he's like motivated or don't think that he's actually going to play well. I don't know why he's playing poorly. It's probably pressure. It's some other things. Like, once you have a meme about you, you kind of want to reverse it and you want to prove yourself. So I think he might be trying too hard to prove himself again, but he just has to kind of play the way he always did.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's like shit happens in a shoutcast where like you fuck up like a hype moment really badly, and then your next few shoutcasts you're like trying to manufacture a hype moment. You're instead of waiting for the hype moment to happen and be like, I'll handle it when it happens. You're just like, you try to make the hype moment. Like it's shit like that happens where you fuck up a call and you're like, well, I know I can do this right. I know I can do it right. And you try to manufacture it instead of wait for that moment to happen naturally. And I think that might be a little bit of it where he's like trying to prove himself too much.
Oh my god, it just pains me so much watching Sven be bad. This fucker's been good so much. You've been so fucking good, and this one fucking time you're on my team, like you're being bad. Like, oh my god, why? God, why? And I know for a fact if he ever goes back to Europe or he joins a different team, he's gonna be good again. It's just so fucking frustrating.
That's how it works. You go back to Europe, something happens, man. Well, not for everybody. I think about it.
Are we at the point? Like, I like Zyrene's point of it's TSM. They can get whoever they want. Is this something that you think they've thought about? Because
no, I don't think that they do any roster changes until the end of the. I think that they're just locked into this, and then whatever happens with this roster, playoffs, worlds, whatever, this is what you got. And then in the offseason, maybe we'll talk.
Also, I want to push Zyrene on that a little bit.
I
think before franchising era, TSM was king. Like TSM could literally get any player they want. And also pay them pretty much anything they want too. People would take pay cuts to join TSM over like other great teams.
Mm-hmm.
Then now you look at like kind of who has the most pull in NA. I would say Team Liquid first. Like TL is going to get first choice on anyone they want to pick up. And then after TL, I don't think it even goes to TSM. I would say it probably goes to Cloud9.
Okay.
Cloud9 over TSM.
So here's my argument for the opposite is I think that you're right. TL has the most pull because if you're a player, you want to join a winning organization and you think you're going to win a trophy with them. But I don't think you go to Cloud9. I think you go to TSM next because the opportunity to play with fucking Bjergsen is something that almost any player who cares about the competitive scene and cares about their career will want to do. Like I've talked to people and they're just like, if TSM like offer me something, I'm going to play with fucking Bjergsen. If I have the option to play with Bjergsen, I'm going to play with him over anybody else in the LCS. People really want to play with him.
I definitely think that's a huge pull, like playing with Bjergsen, but TSM as a brand, I think, has very little pull. And I would argue even teams like 100 Thieves that have like incredibly good branding, CLG, like can contest with TSM. Like I think over 100 Thieves and over 100 Thieves and CLG, most people would pick TSM, but depending on how much 100 Thieves or CLG wants to offer, I think it can get pretty competitive. It's no longer TSM has first pick, like they can pick up anyone they want. Like I think that era has passed.
I still think they're number 2 though. I still think they're number 2. Like,
I mean, I think just right now it would just be like it would be a different scenario. Like if they actually wanted to get an 80 right now, like I mean, I think it's actually isn't it past the deadline? Yeah. Can they still?
You can sign somebody, you can't trade anybody. So it would be like if there's a free agent on the street, go get Freeze or something.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I think that this is definitely the roster that they have.
Or Forgiven.
honestly, Forgiven is actually still really fucking good. Like I played with him in EU, and mechanically and like game knowledge wise, that guy is just insane. He's like one of the cleanest players.
TSM is one of those teams with a culture, though. So I don't think players like Forgiven.
They would never give it Forgiven or Dardoch a chance. But I also think that that's why they'll never actually like win a world championship. Because they'll never take a risk. You know, they just want like the very consistent play. It's like, oh, you've had like good attitude and you're really good for like a long time. Great, like come into our team and be great. They'll never do anything that could potentially like damage the brand or like, you know, potentially have the team implode. Like they're not a team that's like willing to go like first or last. They're like, all right, we'll go like
top 3.
Yeah, top 3. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it.
This is a constant argument. Do you guys think TSM Dardoch or TSM Meteos could ever happen?
I mean, I don't think Dardoch, like they said that that Dardoch talked to them and it didn't happen. So I don't think it will happen, to be honest. I think TSM Dardoch is doomed, but I honestly think he would work really well in a team environment like that. Like a team where like everyone's trying. I feel like that's where Dardoch excels. I feel like where Dardoch would be shit is, you know, put him on a bottom team with some players that like actually don't give a fuck. then he's going to be pissed off the whole time. But I think if he's like on a top team again, he gets a shot to play with like people that he really respects. And I know for a fact that Darnak respects Bjergsen a lot. I'm pretty sure he respects Broken Blade. He thinks Smoothie's good. Like I don't think that there would be a player that would really, really piss him off on the team. Where like low effort players just don't really exist. Like you can't really be a low effort player if you join TSM. Like even players that were known to be like not the hardest working players, they join TSM to become hardworking players. Like Acadian, for example, he wasn't like a huge fucking grinder, and then he joins TSM, and it's like, all right, days off, 50 games of solo queue type shit. So I just don't think that Dardak will ever get picked, even though he would, in my mind, be a good fit for TSM. Yeah.
I agree. And I mean, I think to that point, you think of guys that couldn't hang with that kind of environment. Someone like Yellowstar, he was here for a split and then dipped out. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to go be PSG.
Yeah, but Yellowstar just sucked. Like he was just a bad player like when he joined. But do you not agree?
I think
in season 6, like obviously like
I have a perfect example of someone that couldn't handle the grind and that left.
Is this going to be another fucking like baby coming out?
No, what the fuck? Keith, when we had Keith on TSM, he really didn't enjoy our culture, and he really didn't enjoy kind of like the 24/7 grind, and he really wanted to play Diablo 3.
Yeah.
I do think like TSM lifestyle is really fucking intense, and if you're not up for the grind, then you're not up for the grind. I don't even think it's healthy, and you could probably argue it's not even the best way to practice and the best way to have your team culture anymore. But it is what it is, and if you're going to join TSM, like that's something you're going to have to kind of account for.
All right, well, let's keep along with this TSM conversation with their other game that didn't quite. It could have been really bad, but they pulled it out 2 Smite steals away. It was TSM against Golden Guardians. This was the Saturday surprise. I thought it was an exciting game to watch. I was there at the LCS Battle Arena. Dom, you had other thoughts. I was like, "Wow, what a game!" You were like,
I thought it was a well played game early from Golden Guardians. That was like one of the better games I've seen Contracts play in the early game. I was like, okay, he's not like just being like down 50 CS just to get a million ganks off. He's actually like ganking and farming pretty effectively. And then they just didn't. I feel like they were so pressured by the Camille split push where they really like just needed to make a different play. So I even typed this on Twitter, but essentially what kept on happening is like Camille, I think supposedly Camille wins later in the game against Aatrox, right? Yeah. So you feel pressured in the split and you feel like you need to do anything or you need to do something. But instead of doing what I think which was the correct play, which is you gank the Camille with the TF and then you have double TP and then you just TP to Baron if they start it. Like you force the other team to start the Baron. They would just start the Baron 4v4 and then just try to like TP in the Aatrox and it becomes a 50-50 every single time, where I would much rather send the TF, like, because you have pressure, right? You're the ones with vision control. You're the ones that are ahead in the game. You just like push in mid, go to Baron, get your vision control, and then TF goes and ganks bot lane with his ult. And then if the enemy team sees that and you kill the Camille, they're gonna have to start Baron. As soon as they start Baron, you TP the 2 people that are bot in, and then you just have a 4v5 on Baron. I'll take that every single day over the starting Baron and just 50-50ing it. Like, why do you have to take a 50-50 over and over again in that situation?
You have a TF, you have a fucking Silas who has Camille ult, Sejuani ult to steal, you have Aatrox, you have so many ways that you could be engaging and like you can just force a fight. Yeah, but instead they took like a 50-50 Baron. Like GGS had no idea how to handle split push.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which was nuts to me. And I also like the TF thing where I really wanted them to gank the side lane like you were talking about, Dom. I could understand the hesitation because Camille is really slippery and it's an Aatrox. So, TF ulties, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, well, she's just going to hook shot out. And now there's 2 people on the bottom side of the map and he's just going to run away and they're going to start Baron, right? I feel like that's where they would give up pressure because just the Camille is so slippery. And I really think they should have done, at least given that the chance though, at least go to the side lane with the Twisted Fate.
I mean, they did it once. Once they had already lost the Baron, they did the play. They killed him. They lost like the top turret for it, but then they TP'd people in, and then I think they ended up getting like an Elder off it or something, and it ended up working out. It's just like I wanted to see that before the enemy team has Baron because you won't lose as much. Like when the other team doesn't have Baron, like it's much harder for the enemy team to do a full Baron than a Baroned up team to just take one turret 4v3. Like it's much harder for them to take the Baron 4v3 than the turret.
That was the crazy Baron too, where like there were 4 smites that were walking up or whatever, and it was just like, holy shit, who's gonna get this? And instead of like it's a turn Baron, it's like, oh, it's a burn Baron. We're gonna try to like smite steal this in their face. And that's where they lost it, right? To like I think Smoothies, Tom Kench just walked up.
Oh
and,
my god.
Yeah.
That's
Flash
Yeah.
smited.
Yeah.
how
60, I think it was 60 HP or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's because they tried to do like that. I fucking hated always doing that shit on LCS, where it's like, no, let's burst it together at 1700. You ready? Like 3, 2, 1, and then like somebody fucks it up every single goddamn time, and you just never get it. Like,
Dude.
I feel like it's just way too hard to do. Like, people always have this like idea. I remember a huge thing when I was in LCS was like Cho'Gath was meta for a while, and it was like, yeah, we'll just like feast smite it at like 1700, and it just never fucking works. Like,
Yeah.
it just never works for some reason.
They had up to a 6k, 7k lead with a fucking kha'zix on your team. You have a fucking kha'zix. Holy fucking shit. Like, kha'zix Braum in teamfights is like unstoppable. Like, how do you lose at this state?
Well, it feels like they were just they got to the point and they're like, yes, our comp team fights. They just didn't know how to do it, and they were like, yeah, the best way to do it is bait Baron, not hey, what is the best?
Even Daniel knows you have to bait Baron, not fucking 50-50 Baron. And holy
man,
fuck, Golden
don't do
Guardians
that
couldn't
to me.
figure it out. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Daniel's like a what? Like, you've been platinum all your life?
My whole
Holy
life I've
shit,
been
dude.
platinum, dude. Come on.
Yeah. Oh my
This is-
god.
Like,
this is
I mean,
the season.
I mean,
The Platinum
Loco might be
Guardians,
like
baby.
Diamond 4 now, but he was higher than that at some point.
Yeah.
For sure.
I used to be rank 1, but I hit rank 1 both servers. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
Let's stop talking about our personal ranks and let's let's get back to how bad Golden Guardians were in that game.
I
Daniel,
actually didn't even think it was that bad of a
They
game.
were good though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought
that's
they were
what I'm
good
saying.
That's the thing that
for
sucks.
most of the game.
It was so good, and it became so bad. You have 7k up with 3 Infernos. Like, please, Golden Guardians, please. Holy fuck.
I mean, that's a game that feels really, really bad to lose, right? But
Yeah.
I think when you look at it from like a coaching perspective, it's just like it felt like they just didn't know one thing. Like, it was just there was one huge like gap in knowledge that if they had it, it was an easy win, and they just didn't know what to do around the split push. Like, if they just understood that one situation, the game is just like snowballed for them. I think they just win the game. But
I didn't.
Yeah.
When you're playing TF, you have to know how to split, and you have to know how to deal with split push. Else, like, why the hell are you playing TF?
True. I mean, I think that also like Golden Guardians in general, like I didn't like the stuff that they started picking. Like, I don't know when they started picking like Talon mid. Like, when did Froggen become a Talon player? Like, he played Talon in the game on Sunday. They did TF in the first game. Like, TF I can kind of understand, but like I just feel like their identity is like Froggen fucking carrying the game on like a control mage. Like, even if Froggen plays really well on a Talon, Talon's like a champion where you one shot one person and get out of the fight. It's not like I'm gonna fucking carry this whole damn fight with just abilities. You know, like, you're not gonna kill 2-3 people. It's just one shot and then try to get out. I don't know. It just doesn't seem
Trying
like
something
him.
new, man. They're like, he can't carry the game by himself, so maybe he can like gank another lane and make somebody else into a carry. You know, that's like what they may have been trying, but I don't think it was against the right team for sure.
I mean, I guess it's just also like, I guess their mentality for trying something that game is like, you're probably going to lose the TL no matter what. So if you're going to like try
That's a
to
good point.
throw a different look at somebody, you throw it at that team. Like, it's like high risk, low reward, or it's low risk, high reward, because you probably don't win no matter what you do. So I guess that's the only logic I can see with doing that there.
It's a really good point, actually.
It's funny because it's a year ago when I used to be with the Golden Guardians where I think that was the Talon pick. That was when Mickey pulled out Talon. It was funnel mid, and they used it against Team Liquid to get one of our 3 wins from Summer Split last year. So that's pretty funny. And I think this is a good time to lead us to our tweet of the week. Today wasn't that spicy, or this weekend wasn't that spicy. So it's actually coming from friend of the show, Thorin. It's a shame that tonight's Listen Loco episode isn't about NA. I was looking forward to hearing about why it's Froggen's fault he couldn't carry a 10-death bot lane that was feeding from the first moment. And so, Dom, you alluded to it just a bit there. The team, it tried something new, but no matter what, that bot lane just did not look good. It did not look good. It was clearly the weak point there.
They got snowballed on super, super hard. Like, it was just, yeah, that one Rakan W, you know, like as soon as that first Rakan W landed and FBI died, it was like, this is an FBI open bot type game. Like, it is fucking done. Like you see that one skill, and this is actually over.
It's just like, FBI, open up. Holy shit.
Yep, that's how it is, dude.
Oh my god, it was so bad. Like, because as a Kench, you don't want to stand too close, because you don't want to get knocked up and you don't want to stand too far away because you want to be able to eat him after the knockup. But they stood perfectly in distance where both of them can get knocked up together. It was just too good of a teamwork from Golden Guardian's bot lane.
Yeah. I actually have like a lot of issues with this tweet though, because they had 12 deaths. So so he's being nice.
So that's good because it'll get us to, I think, a new segment that we're going to start working up here every week. You know, we're watching the games, we see things going right, we see things going wrong, and you know, we're always going to try to make sure that we keep it real, and I will try to make sure that we don't absolutely shit on someone for no reason for all the wrong here. But in this case, FBI and Huhi are going to get my first ever honorable 3, 2, 1 Yikes of the week. FBI and Huhi getting absolutely bodied, identified as the weak point of the team, and then getting exploited by a just superior bot lane. And I think it's unfortunate because FBI and Huhi looked okay, like in the game before, as you said, the kha'zix was going well, but someone was like, no, this can't be right. Let's figure this out. And so that's my Yikes of the week. Loco, you watch the games. Who's your Yikes of the week?
Mine's Sven. Oh my god, I just cannot believe
You guys are all wrong.
Sven. Well, hear me out. Sven's supposed to be the best AD carry in North America. That's the expectation for Sven. That was literally the expectation for Sven and Mitty when TSM picked them up. Best in the West. And now he's performing like one of the worst bot laners. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, Sven in both games were so fucking yikes. Like, for me, it's Sven.
Yeah.
All right, Sven with the Yikes of the week. Dom, you feeling strong about something? Go for it.
I think MikeYoung is the worst player.
Damn it. Damn it.
He's just so fucking bad. Like, he is so bad. Like, if you watch both games, they showed a stat. No kills or assists before 15 minutes as a jungler in 6 games or something.
That's a low tempo jungling pathing.
How the fuck? Like, he is actually just, he's borderline SillyGo level at this point. It is really fucking sad what's going on here. I mean, his second game 0-8. The first game he played versus Meteos, like, he's literally getting just destroyed by every jungler he plays against, and not just like by a little bit. Like, it is better jungler wins every game against MikeYoung. Like, he is getting clobbered by everyone. Amazing. Meteos, Sven, anyone who plays against this guy just dicks him. I don't know. Like, he just doesn't do anything throughout the whole game. He doesn't gank well. He ends up super, super far behind in farm. He doesn't like contest anything throughout the game. I mean, maybe you could argue that his team like isn't the best. Like, yeah, he's on one of the worst teams, but like as a player, he is outclassed by every other jungler the entire game. Like, there's nothing that he does well.
It takes a special skill to make Lyra look like he's popping off.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That is what MikeYoung was able to accomplish. So I completely agree. That was my fucking Yikes of the week too. Because when I watched MikeYoung as a jungler, it was just so painful, dude.
He has no clue about like just basics. So the weakness from MikeYoung has never been mechanics. It's always been like pathing and game knowledge. Like, he's never had professional level pathing and game knowledge. He always had issues with like knowing which camps he can clear before like when shit gets fucked up and you don't have the standard, like, I'm gonna do these camps, it gets me level 3 in gank. When the game gets fucked up and it's like, oh, they invaded our bot side, Phoenix just ran it down, like, I see him on a ward bot, like, what do I do situation to situation? He always ends up making the wrong decision. Like, in that game, right? He gets pushed off his red in the game versus Optic, gets pushed off his red, goes to his blue side, does his blue side. He sees Meteos, like, Meteos actually kind of fucked up his pathing. He went from like red and then he looked at golems and then he didn't actually do the golems. Then he ran back to race and then he did golems again. So he showed 3 or 4 times on this one ward. So you know that it is completely safe to go into the other guy's top side. He just takes the red and leaves. He doesn't do the golems. He doesn't take anything out of his jungle. And then it's like, okay, well, if you don't take any of the other guy's jungle and the other guy just took a full quadrant, now you are getting like out leveled to the point where you're going to be level 3 when the other guy's level 5 and you're just going to get dicked the whole game. So like, I don't know, man. Like, he just doesn't do anything. Like, he doesn't like pressure top with like his advantage. Like, they're splitting the map and like he just doesn't do anything on the side of the map he has split. It's like he's afraid of something that's not there. Like, he's oh shit, like, I'm half life. What happens if like Meteor shows up? Oh, what happens if like the Aatrox comes down and kills me? Like, you have to be able to do something in that situation when you're splitting the map.
Dude, Mike has to be the biggest bust of all time. I know in LCS we don't have
I
drafts,
think that's a stretch. I'm gonna take
but
that.
Mike,
That's a stretch.
no, Mike won Rookie of the Split, and
And
everyone
he was all-star. He was all-star
Yeah.
jungle. That's what.
everyone wanted Mike. Like Mike went from being one of the most wanted player, like he was the single most hyped like rookie, to being like absolute fucking like no one even wants this kid.
I mean, I think at this point, like, it's just so obvious to me. He just needs, at the very least, he just needs more time in academy. There's no way he can be playing LCS with like the level that he's playing at right now. Like, he literally just makes so many mistakes every single game. Like I said last time, we did the bottom 5 rated players, right? And the players that we had in there, the 2 junglers we had in there are Lyra and MikeYoung. And you saw how much better Lyra is than MikeYoung. Like, Lyra is like hard shitting on MikeYoung. So it's like, this guy isn't even like high academy tier. He's just like, I don't even know if you can even put him in academy. Like, it's just like, it's really bad right now.
Name another rookie that was this hyped that is doing this badly.
Yeah, you can't. But I think I don't think there's another rookie that's been this hyped as well. Like this was my time at Riot, and we were pushing the MikeYoung train real hard in stories and stuff. So, who's the second most hyped rookie that's been out there that's kind of been killing it? Is there anyone like that kind of bursted on the scene, or
Like, I mean, Dardoch, when he was a rookie, had really a lot of hype, but Dardoch actually delivered. Stixay actually delivered. I'm trying to Licorice. Like, all these rookies at least delivered to a certain extent.
Biofrost.
Yeah, Bio, even Jensen. Like, Mike is like this one player who has so much hype, and he had nothing to show for it. He had like half a split of good play, and then nothing else.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything even close to MikeYoung's fall off. Like, this was a monumental fall off. It's like from being somebody who the fans voted in as an all-star. He was like considered, people thought he was the best jungler in the league, you know, like, and then look at how bad he is. I mean, like, Lyra didn't have, like, obviously he didn't start his career in NA, but he had like a similar fall off where it was like best to worst.
he was.
Lyra at least had a full split of being good.
Yeah.
He had a
All
full
LCS
split of being
jungler.
good.
and then disappeared.
Yeah, I think like the closest thing is Keith when he comes in super hyped.
Yes.
And then falls off. Like that's the closest thing
And
that I
that's
could
not that
possibly think
close.
of. But he's not even falling. He didn't even fall off as hard as this, right? God, and like the overhype kind of reminds me of Seraph back in the day when Seraph came, and it was just like this guy's great, this guy's amazing, and then it's just like, what the fuck is going on in top lane? Like, what holy shit! Like,
Monty
I remember
Sold is
Monty.
good.
Yeah, well, I mean, but there's really nothing. This is unprecedented for MikeYoung.
But I think one of the big things is, as long as we keep this in mind, he's still young and he still has an opportunity to change that. Like, he's going to be working out the rest of this split, and as well as, we'll see what happens to him in the future. But he's a young talent that still, we've seen his highs. And I think that's why.
I don't think, I mean,
How young? How young?
so he's 19, right? So he's young in terms of age, but like in terms of like, as a player, I don't consider him that young. Like it's 2 full years since he joined LCS the first time. And I feel like that's where you need to start seeing, like, obviously before that you want to see improvement, but like, if at 2 years you're like getting worse, I feel like you're almost hopeless because you've lost like his advantage, right? Like, he's not mechanically better than the junglers anymore, right? Like, that was his original advantage, was like, oh, he plays Nidalee and Lee Sin, and he's just got like these sick mechanics or something, right? And then that is not the case anymore. And now it's not even a mechanical meta anymore. It hasn't been a mechanical jungle meta in a long time, actually. It's been mainly jungle metas that involve like good decision making, which is why people like Smithy have been good for so long.
Meteos, right? Yeah.
Meteos. It's like this is just such a bad meta for a player that's not able to like grasp map wise what he should be doing, and it just feels like these like mistakes. Like, it feels like he's just like almost never gonna get it. Like, if he doesn't know at this point like which camps he can do, and he sees the other jungler, like where he can go on the map, when is he ever going to understand it? You think that like, it's like, oh, well, the first 2 years you still are learning these things. Like, these are things that you should be able to pick up in like a split or like a year.
God, this just makes me sit there and go, this just makes us worse as a region too. Because like, if the enemy jungler, you're playing against a team where the enemy jungler is like not even countering your top side, which means it puts pressure on your top laner and your mid laner, like, you get away with murder, and then you feel like, oh, I can get away with this. I could maybe do this, but like, this game becomes worthless to you because like you were saying, like it becomes worthless to them because the jungler that is supposed to be getting like countered, they don't. And then it's just like, well, I'm way stronger than I should be in this game, so let's just get this W, let's just win this. So it's like useless to them when it comes to actually trying to play against better teams and become a better team. It just feels like it's just one where you go, oh shit, we had a level 1 where 3 people died. It's the scrim where everybody goes, okay, you know what? We're not going to get anything out of this. Let's just go next. Let's just restart this. So, because real games aren't going to be like that.
Shout out to the Echo Fox management that decided to buy MikeYoung. They didn't even pick him up randomly. They're like, hey, TL, we'll give you money for MikeYoung. And also on top of that, they're like, we're going to bench Solo. So they somehow bought the worst jungler in NA and also benched their best player. Like Echo Fox management, holy shit, props to you.
I mean, I was gonna say this. I actually was gonna make this point in the last episode, but I we skipped over it at some point. But it honestly looked like Solo was really tilting on stage.
Yeah.
In the last week,
he was
there.
laughing while he was dying.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, it was
that's all the time.
so that was one time. But then also like. Yeah, I mean, he always does that, but that was the early game. What bothered me was the game after that, the next game that they played, where he's just like splitting. He's literally pulling a Shinshin, where his team has no pressure on the map, right? His like mid lane is pushed all the way in, his top lane is pushed all the way in. He sees that they have like a Tom Kench. This is the 100 Thieves game. People are roaming on him, and he's still just like hardcore pushing all the way until he's just dead. He just pushes the lane until he dies, and it's like his team isn't in position to get anything. It's literally the Shinshin where you just run it down a fucking lane. And then as soon as like you die, you just complain that you're not getting anything on the other side of the map, where it's like, no, you have to like time your death with like when we have pressure. You don't just get to like run it down and then just blame everyone when it doesn't work out. I don't know.
That's right.
Oh man, there's definitely some blame on Solo's side, and he isn't the easiest person to work with. And I've heard rumors of like him even being toxic on Echo Fox, but holy fucking shit, rest of the team is so bad. And it's this one split where he looked really fucking good, and they're just throwing it in the garbage.
Yep. And it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate because, again, you look at that team and you have pieces, but just nothing that you can rest your hat on, and your best players tilting to the point where, you play Lorlo. And, not that there's anything super wrong with Sam, but I think Solo has proven that he could be a player on a better team.
Lorlo is the Def Lee of top lane, dude. That's how I see him. That's that's exactly how I see him. Is that he's not a player that's gonna like win you the game, but sometimes they get camped and they lose you the game. And then if it gets to the late game, well, if he's on a tank, he'll know what to do. But that's how I see it. Is he's very much so like Def Lee. I remember when they were both on the same team, I was just like, oh god, what's this team supposed to do? Which lane are they gonna play to?
Yeah.
Hey, were you in our meetings? Were you in our meetings, Irene?
No, I was not.
All right, so that's we've got it there. You've got Sven looking for it. You got MikeYoung happy about it. FBI and who he's smiling about it. They are our yikes of the week. Something that wasn't yikes. Probably something that was actually pretty cool and I was excited about. Jatt came back. Jatt's back. Came back and slotted right on in the cast, and it felt very good. It felt good, sounded good. I think it was one of those things where it was like, wow, like the skill set that he has to come back in, stay up on the meta. He was on the balance team for a little while. And with obviously Aiden moving on, there's been just 2 color casters working both days. You can only do about 3 games a day safely. And so with Jatt now back in the rotation, that gives guys an ability to have a break. Aiden, I wanted you to touch on our former coworker here and what you thought about him coming back and how that changes the dynamics.
I know it takes a big burden off the team. I was talking to Flowers last night, and he was like, it's a huge sigh of relief because the team was like, ever since Rift Rivals, just like there's a lot of weight on them. Flowers himself was sick too, so just having more people, because like imagine one of the reasons that we had like 4 color commentators when there were only 2 days worth of games, so you do like 3 games or 2 games for pretty much the entire week. So it'd be like, oh, Azale gets the first 2 games here, I get the next 3. Then tomorrow it's Kobe gets 2, Jack gets 3, right? Literally, you'd cast 2 to 3 games a week. And then when it swapped and Jatt went out, it's like, okay, now people get a little bit more. You'd imagine that you'd only need 2. You cast one day, you cast the other. But it doesn't really work like that. You need more people on the team, because if one person is sick, like let's say Kobe gets sick, it's like, well, I guess we pull Mark Z or Crumbs from the desk, or Azale's doing 10 games this weekend, which is too much for your voice. So it takes a big burden off the team in terms of people are now allowed to be sick in a sense, because otherwise you're just fucking the team over. And I think Jatt strikes me as one of the guys who, like, I fell into commentary because it was like the only way to do the educational stuff I wanted to do. I never was like passionate about being a shoutcaster. I never listened to like sports or like NBA or NFL and went like, that's what I want to do. I don't think Kobe really did that either. You know, anything like that. I don't really think Azale did that. Joshua Jatt Leesman, I think, is the commentator who embodies that the most. He watched traditional sports and he really wanted to do that. He like listens to the NFL, he listens to the NBA, he is constantly up to date on those things, and he watches a bunch of like Sports Center shows. So he really is the person who you can feel that he doesn't miss any beats because he's very studied on those things and he knows what to talk about. Yeah. I think that's the biggest difference with him than other color commentators, is he knows what to talk about exactly in that moment, and he doesn't put too much into it. He describes it in the most concise way possible. He doesn't need to prove his knowledge to you. He doesn't feel like he has to prove anything to anybody.
So Jatt, one thing I also admire about him is he used to be like kind of socially awkward, and he used to be terrible in camera. Like I'm not sure if you guys knew him back then, but when he was on Dignitas, when he was a jungler, he was like so nerdy. He is like the kid like that you shove into the locker room or shove into the locker. Like that's the vibe that Jatt gave.
Coming from the look. Easy to the white beater guy.
Whoa! when you're the skinny, so even if there's a jock nurse and then there's the nerd nurse. Okay, even nerds have hierarchies. But anyways, Jatt is someone like that was socially like kind of awkward, and then he turned into like one of the best broadcasters in all of fucking Riot. So yeah, holy fuck, he put so much work into his craft, and it's so fucking like amazing like what he's able to do, because it's really hard to go from like kind of introverted shy to like how Jatt is. And like it really showed when I went on Sports Center with him, and then he just fucking killed it. Like I was so awkward and so nervous.
I know, I remember watching that. I was like,
shut the fuck up, Daniel. Doing? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I remember watching that too.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up. Jatt just fucking killed it. Jatt was just so fucking good. Like
I remember after that, they're like, oh wow, those are actually some good points, Jatt. Like esports might not actually be as illegitimate as we think it is. Like,
yep, because he could speak their language, right? He could speak to the people in traditional sports because that's what he fucking watches and emulates.
Yeah. Fucking Michelle Beadle asked me about e-girls. Oh my god, I want
to your inner F boy was like, do you want the truth? And then your PR side was like, just don't explain. Don't explain. What are girls? I don't know. All right, let's so thanks, Jatt. Thanks for being back. We're excited to have him. It was a lot of fun listening to him this week, and looking forward to the broadcast picking up from there. Speaking of Jatt, MVP of casting, let's get into our MVP picks for LCS. You like that? That one was pretty good too. I've been doing good today. Yep. All right, so MVP.
Just for the record, the MVP is actually Captain Flowers. Just saying.
Yeah, that's right. I guess I don't know. Are we taking votes now? That's what we're gonna do about the players.
I'm gonna say right now, you know those esports awards that come out with those like award shows and stuff, the ones that they like are like personality of the year and shit. I think it's fucking criminal that Captain Flowers has not even been nominated for caster of the year. I have no fucking clue how it hasn't happened. I don't know if it's because like the League of Legends people aren't as engaged with like the votes or something, and it like CS:GO is and stuff. But like, holy shit. This guy, in my opinion, is the best English-speaking broadcaster for play-by-play in any esport. And I watch so many of them. I think he is hands down the best. I think his style is fucking perfect for what he does. I know there'd be some like arguments where it's like this person's personality and their quirkiness suits the game better. They're off-topic discussions and stuff. Absolutely. But I think what Captain Flowers does is fucking legendary. So I think it's nuts that he hasn't been nominated for any of those things.
All right.
So fucking nominate him, guys.
Next esports awards. MVPs. So we're almost done with the split here. 2 more weeks left. So I think we should have some front runners. Loco, who do you got showing up at the top of your list? Give me 2 or 3.
I think there's only 2 real candidates, and I'd be shocked if Dom or Zyrene said anyone else. I would say Core JJ and Svenskeren.
Yeah, it has to be those two. Yeah,
I think it's either of those two. Anyone else, you're fucking trolling. Also, Daniel, can you turn yourself up a bit?
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Dom, go ahead. Add
Same.
on to that.
I mean, Sven has just like been just the rock of C9. You can see so much difference when C9 plays Blabber still plays well and like gets leads, but you can see how instrumental Sven is to like the shot calling and the structure of the team when he's out. It's like the team loses like so much of a voice and like loses the ability to know what to do in a lot of situations. So I think you can see his value in that. And then CoreJJ is just like actually insane. Like I know it's really hard because people don't like to give MVP to the same person like multiple splits in a row. But I think CoreJJ is like by far the best player in the league. Like I don't even think it's close. Like I know a lot of people want to be hyped on Sven, but if you watch CoreJJ play, like he literally 1v2s the lane. Like it is impossible to lose lane with the way he's playing it. Like he plays almost every situation perfectly. Like his situational awareness to determine like quickly in a fight, like okay, this is happening. What do I need to do? Like the fucking Yumi block was so insane. Do you see like the Yumi block where he just like detaches, eats the skill shot, and like saves his AD carry? Like he had just reattached too, like sees another guy easily unattaches for it. The FBI like open bot. The reason why FBI is like going 0-15 or whatever the fuck he did that game is because CoreJJ is literally just like 1v9 every single lane. So I don't know, man. I think that he's just way too good. Like he's just way too good at laning and then just like playing team fights. Like I just never see him fuck up. Like when does he fuck up?
Yeah, I think you have to place 3 votes, right? It has to be 3. Your number 1, 2, and 3 when you submit them. So number 1 is CoreJJ, followed by Svenskeren, and then for me, my third person is actually Meteos because I think he does so much for Optic, and I think that he's a huge reason as to why they're winning.
Meteos.
So I'm interested in people's third pick here because I think the top 2 are obvious. The third pick is really interesting because some people will say like double lift, but I'm like he's not doing as much because CoreJJ is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Granted, he is a good player. But it's like Meteos is doing incredibly well, in my opinion.
So what is MVP to you guys? I think there's like 2 main definition of MVP.
It's not best player. It's most valuable to me. It's like that's what it is.
So most valuable to your team or most
valuable to your team. Like
most valuable to your team.
So like if you took this player away from the team, they would take the hardest hit.
Yep.
And I think that's why it's like both of you guys are CoreJJ over Sven. I think that's why it's Sven because we've seen it. We've seen the Cloud9 without Sven, and they look like if they're not winning, they don't know how to get back in.
For me, my third is it's Bjergsen. I'm surprised you guys said Counter. Wait, what?
No, get out of here.
What?
Serious? Are you serious?
Where's TSM without Bjergsen this split? Where's TSM without Bjergsen this split? Run that exercise for me. Where's TSM without Bjergsen this split?
All right. Who do they have instead?
What?
Yeah,
an average mid laner. Who'd be the average mid laner?
A Blaze Olive.
Oh man. So
let's say they have. Let's say they have Power Evil. He's like a fifth. He's like number 5 in mid lane right now. Let's say they had an average mid laner and Power Evil instead of Bjerg.
Okay, they're
out of playoffs.
No, I put them at like what? I put them at like 7-7, and they're 8-6 right now. I'd say Broken Blade has been so fucking crucial in their games, and like if you're placing with Power of Evil, I'm like, all right, you know what? That's fine. I think they'd take 1 more loss, maybe 2, but that's about it. I don't think Bjergsen has I think there's been games where he's like pulled it out for sure, but like I don't think he's been the most valuable player third most valuable player in the league to his team.
Oh my! I think TSM would die without Bjergsen right now. Like their bot lane is atrocious. Like top and jungle have no synergy. Like Bjergsen's the only one keeping TSM afloat.
Who you got third, Dom?
Who do I have third?
Yeah,
I have a weird one, but I actually think Froggen is really valuable my definition of like what MVP is, like most valuable to the team. I think that Froggen gives like Golden Guardians so much of like a different look, and I feel like the fact that he can play everything, like he actually now is so much different than he was before. Like before he just like was so like I have to play these like range control mages, but now he's playing like different things, and you can see that like his skill level like is something that all teams fear when they're playing Golden Guardians. Like when you're prepping for Golden Guardians, it's like, okay, first thing, what are we gonna do about Froggen? And then once you figure out like what you're gonna give Froggen, then you comp your whole rest of your draft around that.
I agree with you so much, but I feel like Golden Guardians have been stepping away from that. They're putting him on stuff like Corki, putting in stuff like TF. I liked it
They
so
played
much
a
better.
Lissandra. They played a Lissandra game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Lissandra game. both.
The Lissandra game they won, but it was actually atrocious from
Yeah,
CLG,
that was
and
a
CLG
bad
should have
game.
won.
Mhm.
Like they should have stuck more to like Vel'Koz, Lux, whatever the fuck, Anivia, than like all these other stuff. I understand like you need variance as a team and you can't be one dimensional, but when you're that good one dimensionally, it's
Mhm.
pretty okay to stay that one dimensional.
Yeah, I mean, the Lissandra game, I wasn't like a huge fan of. I mean, it was a good pick for the situation, and like he's just a serviceable mid laner. It's like if you find a really, really good pick for a situation, he can play it. I didn't really like that pick. I didn't like the Talon pick. The TF pick, even though I kind of like said it was weird before, it's something that I understand because he was always like a decent TF player, and it just seemed like throughout the game, like they understood how to use TF. Like he played a really good TF game in the like early part of the game, like to be able to get roam priority first and get advantages throughout that. It was just like the final part of the game where they kind of like found it a little bit, but in general, I just think that he's the player like that took the Golden Guardians team. I don't think improved that much. Like Hansel obviously was better than Lorlo, but their ball in has still been garbage, and Contracts is still like he's really weird now. Like he became such a weird jungler after he played for C9 because he used to have like a very balanced style, where he was like sometimes he would get CS lead, sometimes he would like be ganking a lot, but right now it just feels like he just only tries to gank most games. Like it doesn't matter what the state of it doesn't matter if things aren't gankable. He's just like running on the map. He's like, I'm gonna be as aggressive as possible. It feels like that's his mindset all the time. So yeah, I mean, I just think that he's just like completely changed that team. So he's my third pick for MVP.
Okay.
Yeah,
no one has Crown.
Nope.
Yeah,
I thought about him.
Crown would be my number 4.
Yeah, I'd still value Meteos on that team a little bit more than Crown, just a little bit more.
I think I'm with you, Loco. It's still Bjergsen. I look at that TSM team.
Oh my god.
Like,
God, Daniel agrees with me out of everyone.
Yes,
oh
this
my
sounds
god.
I know.
I know I'm wrong.
Oh man, no, like if you think about it, like who else you pull off? Maybe because I was like, look at CLG. Is there someone on CLG that could be an MVP candidate? Is it Wiggly? I don't think so.
No, don't, Daniel, don't.
Right? So there's nobody. It's Bjergsen. It's Bjergsen for that team.
Yeah.
He's the rock.
No, for CLG, dude, it's got to be Ruin.
What?
The most valuable player, dude, because they don't have to put anything into him.
And
it's
he can just run it
Darshan.
down as Jace versus Malphite by himself. You don't even need to gank for him to do that.
He can get solo killed, and it doesn't matter in the game.
I have a theory.
Let that happen to Darshan and see what happens.
I think Ruin is a bottom 5 top laner, but CLG is just so much better without Darshan that we're kind of like mind fucked into thinking Ruin is good. We're
I don't think he's good. I've said this for so long.
this guy's like a bottom 5 top laner, but I think holy shit that Ruin for Darshan move did wonders for CLG. Holy fuck, that team looks so good. He must be so good. And then I watch him play. I'm like, wait a minute.
I feel like he's the type of player where his like mechanics and his laning aren't that good, which is like what a lot of the top laners excel at. But I think his decision making is like pretty on point.
I lose you the game.
Yeah, like he just knows like where to be at certain times. Like he understands his role as a top player laner within a team. So I don't rate him as low as everyone else. Like I know a lot of people like I meme him and shit because you should never die in like the lanes that he dies in. But I think that just him having like the presence of mind to be like, okay, this is where I need to be at this time. This is when I need to TP to fights. This is like when I should be splitting. This is when I should be fucking roaming to shit. Like that is actually really valuable to the team because it like allows you to make a lot of plays knowing that you do have like the backup of your top laner.
Yeah, and it's kind of like when I value 80 carries, I go like, well, not dying is one of my highest things for like, if this guy doesn't die a lot and he shows up, then I value him very highly as an AD. He doesn't need to pop off. He doesn't need to solo people in lane or anything like that. He just needs to not fucking die when we need him to not die because he's so important, right? Like position correctly. So for Ruin, I think he does the equivalent for me what a top laner is supposed to do. Show the fuck up, right? It's like if you show the fuck up to the fights or you have good TP management, and you're not just blowing that shit selfishly to just get back to lane or to make a play like we saw some top laners do even this week. I think TP usage is so big. I think he understands those two things very much so. Even if the team isn't playing to him, he knows when to show up. So I will give him that for sure. I just don't think he's like a good top lane player, right? In terms of playing the lane, I just don't think he's a good top lane player. So that's what I think.
All right. Well, go ahead, Loco. Finish it up.
I was gonna say you could probably replace them with like Dokla and CLG would do similarly. I'm not
You
even
think so?
joking.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. I don't think so at all. I feel like Douglas would be a horror.
Don't get resource. Just be there.
And this is
Play
my
tank.
yikes of the week. Like, holy shit.
No, I think that the problem with Dokla is Dokla doesn't get resources, but he also like has the like, sure, he played fine in one of the games when he was getting pressured this week, but generally speaking, he normally does not play fine without pressure. It's like, oh, he's gonna lose you the game. Like it's not like, oh, you didn't pressure his lane, but he's still like good at playing from behind. Like he will straight up just int the whole fucking game by himself in certain situations. So I feel like Dokla would be like one of the worst players to replace him with. I feel like he would just be like, oh, it's like now you just have like some guy up top who's like Darshan 2.0.
Yep.
Dude, the core difference between Darshan and Dokla, though, is like Darshan draws resource and then fails. Dokla doesn't draw any resource and then maybe he'll fail a little bit.
But if you put resources into him, he still fails. So it's less like
sometimes he's gotten better. Like Dokla is a player that has gotten better since we first had him on there. Like
you would assume that you play more games, you get better. You would hope.
He has.
Yeah, but there's people.
No MikeYoung effect, you know.
There's people stuck at D4 after 1,000 games. Not me, but there are people.
All right, let's.
And those
move
people
on.
actually get in my master tier games now, so that is why I'm 2-week banned.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry. Yeah. What happened? All I saw was the clip of it. You just.
Oh, you didn't get to see the whole thing. Well, I mean, if you want like the real interpretation, so like I essentially have an account. I had one account that I'll like talk shit on, right? Because it's more fun. So I localized it to one account. It's the only account I've got chat restricted on, and then like that's just like my shit talk account, right? And so I called somebody a retard in chat like over and over again, and I know how the riot system works. If you use like buzzwords and you get reported, like retard, F word, the N word, like any of those words, you just get fucked. Like you just get banned based off that. So somebody was like soft inting my game, and I just called him a retard like 15 times in a row.
Damn.
Wow. Was it?
Dude, Dom lost his touch. Him getting banned only got up to second in Reddit.
Yeah,
for days, but Dom
only 5,000 upvotes. It wasn't even, if you read the thread, it wasn't even that much of a hate thread. Like compared to like normal, it was like some people were like, no, he is toxic, but that was like the most that I got. Like before, it was like some serious shit. Like I remember like there was a post with like 200 plus upvotes that was just like all personal attacks. It's like,
there was barely
his
any
skin's so
personal
fucking
attacks.
pale, and like his sunken eyes, like all this shit. I don't know. I
No
normally
death
see way
threats?
worse. Yeah, no death threats.
TL to kill you, like to kick you off. Like you lost your touch, Dom.
There was some people asking for me to be like indefinitely banned and stuff. It's like, wait, you're gonna Tyler
That's
one me because I
weak.
said
That's
retard?
weak.
I just thought that was like really, really strange. I'm like, how can people like actually make that judgment? It's like, oh, somebody gets banned, 2-week ban once on an account. It's like indefinite ban him. Like indefinite ban is so crazy. Like Tyler went at like 18, 20 perma-banned accounts before they indefinitely banned him. And then it's like you get 2-week banned one time in 7 years, and it's like that's an indefinite ban.
Indefinite
it just
ban.
seems so. Yeah, it just seems so crazy to me. But I mean, Redditors in general are just not the smartest people. So I mean, we got to be thankful for that. That's why we have jobs. You know.
That is. And now a way to prove it, because everyone loves doing this. Another new segment on Facecheck. We'll be knocking these out as we go through the rest of the season. We're gonna start popping up with tier lists. So Loco, Dom, Zyrene, and myself. I know Loco probably doesn't like that, but I don't care. I made my tier list as well. And so the four of us did not share. They didn't share with each other. They sent it to me, and then I made mine. My tier list. And
You just copied whoever you thought was the smartest.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So mid lane tier list. This is different than. So I want to talk it out here and talk out how you guys went about it, because we explained what we thought MVP was, which was who's the most valuable, and a lot of the way that you can adjudicate that is if you take them out, how does the team do? With your mid lane tier lists, what did you guys do in terms of, is it the best player period? Was it best player for the team right now? Like, how did you guys go about it? Zyrene, I know you clarified this when you sent it over to me.
I'm going purely off this split's performance. And when I mean performance, I mean their in-game performances. I don't care if they're a shot caller or anything like that, or their leadership role in the team. I just care about how they fucking play on the Rift. That's what I care about. And only this split.
Mine's been, are you done?
Yep.
Mine's been this split, how good they are, and also what kind of value they bring to the team. So it wasn't purely off play. I incorporated other stuff too.
For me, it was just purely like play, like who I think is just best to worst purely off like how good of a player I think they are.
Yeah, dude, that stuff. Like, I know it gets people flamed when your things are different. Because I remember one split, I had a different MVP than I did All Pro. I think it was like I had like Jensen and Bjergsen different. So like one of them was my All Pro and the other one was MVP in terms of my votes. And I was like, yeah, because in terms of
thought
like
Bjergsen was more valuable.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
It's like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, Jensen he played mid better, but Bjergsen was more valuable. So if people were like, how is that possible? I'm like, it's very possible. Like, so
That was the summer 2017. Yeah.
yeah, I think so.
That was, yeah, I remember those conversations. All right. So without further ado, here are your tiers. Also, any graphic artists that want to start doing this 30 minutes before the show, let me know. It looks like butt. I'm sorry. But here we go. All right. So up there, everyone has Bjergsen up top except Zyrene.
Oh my God, Zyrene has Bjergsen as third. What the fuck?
As third,
Zyrene!
Yep.
which is why he had to put the clarification earlier.
I know you were at a
No.
party last night, and I know you were drinking. Don't fucking drink in tier list.
Wait, my
Don't drink in tier list.
Oh wait, my Froggen and PoE should be swapped. That's the that's the other
same
thing.
same for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
Okay.
Froggen and PoE need to be swapped too.
All
Yeah,
right.
I literally have the same exact tier list as literally same exact. Mine's just wrong on the graphic, but yeah,
It is?
I have the
Oh.
same exact tier list. Yeah,
As Loco?
As Loco.
I have Froggen fifth.
Yeah.
I have Froggen fifth. Power People sixth.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep. I think that's just what it is, to be honest. Like,
Wait, we all have Crown in exactly the same spot because we're like we all agree these are the top 3 mid laners.
No, we agree on the top 4. We agree on.
Yeah, and then we're just like Crown is unanimous as the
Number
fourth.
4.
And then Froggen for 3 of us is 5th.
Yeah, I got gaslighted by Doran into thinking Froggen's good. I think that's what it is.
Really, I think Froggen plays really well.
I think it's good.
All right. Did it fix? Did it update? There we go. Yeah, I fixed it. We updated it.
Cool. Real life graphics in real time. Let's go.
Wow, the technology. Oh, holy shit! Me and Dahmer complete. Wow.
Well, could you not see that until he swapped it?
Damn, the 2 former players, the 2 people with actual competitive experience, know what's up.
Oh wait, did you swap mine too, Degon?
What was yours?
PoE and Froggen should be swapped.
PoE and Froggen. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it's exactly the same. Sorry, yeah. There's when people make tier lists, they're like a living, breathing thing. You put it up there, and then you have instant regret, and you're just like, wait a second, I need to edit this. So you just like swap one thing. It always
see.
happens. But yeah,
Bam.
we agree that the top 3 are the top 3, but different order here for me.
Zyrene, you have to start. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck, Zyrene?
What do you mean? What the fuck?
Bjergsen has 3. Are you crazy? Holy fucking shit. Bjergsen below Jensen, I can live with somewhat. I can live with
Okay.
it when someone puts Jensen above Bjerg, but Niski above Bjerg also. Oh my God, Zyrene.
Dude.
Tell me. Talk
All right,
to me, man.
All right, absolutely. I think that Niski has been, once again, the best roaming mid laner in the entire league, and I value that very highly. And the fact that he's pulling things out like Veigar and smashing people is just huge for the team. So I think that he's been really clutch. I think that he's done way more for his team in the mid lane than Bjergsen has this split, just purely off of play. Now, is Bjergsen a better overall player? Yes,
Yeah.
but I think in terms of how he's played mid lane this split, I think that Niski is just slightly better than him. I'm not going off of like, historic shit where like I care about Bjergsen's past or anything or what he does. Then I just care about how they've been playing right now. That's why I pull belt their fucking dead last.
Okay. So
I think he's playing like shit.
Niski has such an easier job due to who his jungle is compared to Bjerg.
Mhm.
Bjerg is like patching holes in jungles all the fucking time, and like even when he lets the jungler go topside, like they're not getting shit done. Like Svenskeren and Blabber are constantly getting shit done on side lanes, especially topside, and they have better synergy regarding mid, and they're like easier junglers to play with. Like Niski, I still think had a worse performance overall than Bjerg. and
Is
has-
Blabber really an easier jungler to play with?
Are you fucking serious? You wouldn't trade Acadian for Blabber if you were TSM general manager and Jack's like, hey, Blabber called my wife ugly. I don't want him on my team anymore. Do you want to trade Blabber for Acadian?
What?
Like, and he's fucking smashing that button. He's like, fuck yes. Like, are you? Wait. You would argue that Blabber has been worse than Acadian?
I think Blabber's actually really good.
Yeah, I think he's good. I'm just saying, like, is he an easy jungler to play with? I think he is potentially better than Acadian. I think he's like really good. I don't know if he's easier to play with.
I think he's really easy to play with because he just like gives
Really?
like
Gives you pressure.
yeah, because he's just so like active, like it's he
Okay.
in the games that he's played, like he hasn't really been it's not like he's running it down, really. It's like he's just been consistently good early game, and I feel like that gives you like a lot of leeway as like at least when you have like a better early game jungler than the enemy, because that's when really jungle matters to me. Like when I view a jungler as like easy to play with, I'm really just looking at like early game, because after that you're kind of just working with the whole team.
Yeah.
I think that Blabber in general has had really, really good early games, and Acadian's been super hit or miss. So like consistency is a huge thing. The only reason I have Niski, so I was considering putting Niski second. The reason I put him third is because I feel like he's just been really inconsistent. Like he's really good on certain picks. Like yeah, as a roaming mid laner, he's really good. But then he picks things like Vlad, and both of his Vlad games have just been like terrible in my mind. It's like you're just getting pushed in the whole fucking game. You're doing nothing, and then like they won one game because TSM hard through. But I lose a lot of like points for like those games, because I just feel like those are just like performances that the other two people that I've had above them like are the Bjergsen and Jensen. Like I don't think that those players have had really, really bad games at Split. It's just been like games where they hard carry and games where they're like okay, not games where they're like terrible.
Is there a world where Crown gets into that top 3? Like we all have him there at 4th, and that's what I thought about because of those inconsistencies with Niski. I was like maybe, and as well as the fact that it seems like the point that Loco was making, it's a bit easier to play with that C9 team than I think it is with the Optic team. Crown might be more valuable there in terms of player value, but is there anyone that might think about that or had thought about that?
Crown on top 3. I thought it was clear. It's like Niski, Jensen, Bjerg, and then you mix them up however you want. Maybe not Niski first, but everyone's allowed to their own opinion. Crown breaking top 3. Nah, Crown's been good, but he hasn't been like game breakingly carry good. Like, and I guess I kind of agree with Cyrene. Meteos has been more crucial than Crown has.
Mm-hmm. That's part of it. I mean, I think that's another reason why I have like. For like MVP, I said Froggen third, and I didn't say Crown, is because I feel like Crown has an easier job. Like it's easier for him to look better because he doesn't play with contracts. Like contracts runs it down so hard some games that I feel like it's almost impossible to play mid lane. You know, like just realistically, he will die so much and just be so far behind that it's like, okay, we can't do contest vision. I can't even leave my lane because like you can't walk anywhere near my lane or you're dead. So I don't know. I think that in general, like there's just better pieces around Froggen, around Crown than Froggen, because also like Froggen's bot lane just runs it down super hard every game. So like there's like half of fucking Froggen's map is hard inting, and it just really limits what he can do. Whereas Optic doesn't have the best bot lane, but their bot lane has been serviceable. I think Big has actually been okay. He's somebody who I was really low on before the split. Like I was like, oh man, really like Big again, like I've never thought he was that good, but recently I think he's been pretty solid. I thought he had a really good last week as well. So,
damn, yep. Daniel and Irene, you guys both had Pobat last. He went from winning. He went from winning 2 championships to being the worst mid laner in LCS.
Yep, I don't count any of that previous shit. I think that this split, he's been the worst mid laner. Like, and sadly, putting Demonte above him was really hard. But at the same time, I was like, I have to go by how he has played this split. I think he's been a huge detriment to his team. He is like by far and away the worst performing laner, in my opinion. Demonte like can win his team some games, but Pobelter has just not shown up at all in my opinion.
And it stinks because we've seen him be good in the past, or at least do his job, and it just feels like he's not doing his job. It feels like I was there again this weekend, and when they were playing that de facto elimination game against 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves was focusing bot lane. Wadid and Turtle were taking a lot of pressure. And then, there's the gray screen from Pobelter across the map. That's what this season feels like for him, where it's just, he's just dying in a solo 1v1 while there's pressure somewhere else, whether it's FlyQuest trying to make a play or someone diving FlyQuest somewhere else. And then, Pobelter's dead. Like, that's what it feels like.
Do you know that he has twice as many deaths as kills this split?
Oh my god!
Yeah, his stats are like not good. They are historically bad.
He has actually over twice as many deaths as he has kills.
Yeah, wow. That's pretty sad. I don't know. I just feel like Demonte is just. I just really don't like Demonte as a player, to be honest. Like, it just seems like he's such a flawed player. Like, you see the things that he plays, and it doesn't seem like it seems like Clutch tries to like give him the best opportunity to succeed all the time. Like, they'll just be like, all right, dude, here's your last pick, Zed, go out there. Here's your Kiana, like 50 games. Like, go out there and like assassinate some people, and it just never looks like he's gonna carry the game. And that's like with everything like set up for him to carry. So I kind of, it's kind of like the same thing where like I feel like he's resource heavy in terms of like he always needs a late pick and draft and all that type of stuff, and then he just never really performs to the level where I'm like, oh, he's gonna like be the deciding factor of the game.
Right.
But this motherfucker, he's getting resources from Lyra. I'm just gonna say.
Well, no, that's what I was saying. Like I was trying to clarify that by saying like draft resources in a way, because because I think that's really valuable in a team. Like the position that you get to draft in, like if you're the type of player that can like blind pick anything, I feel like that's so valuable to a team. There's players that like they would just always be like, yeah, like one thing I always liked about playing with Phoenix is that he was super confident in playing like a bunch of blindable champions when I was on a team with him. Like he would be like, all right, give me like a 0 into anything. First pick that shit. Like a 0 into anything. And it's like, doesn't matter. They could be like, so many people tried to counter his Azir on stage. They're like, oh, Kassadin, let me get level 11. I'm going to fuck up the Azir. Phoenix would take the Kassadin's turret at 10 minutes solo if I gave him like ward pressure. He would just literally walk up and auto the turret to death in front of like the enemy Kassadin. I was like, okay, this guy is like actually dominant. Like that gives so much like value to a team. Because of that, you know, I could get a later pick and draft, you know, and I understand just like how much that means to his teammates that he's able to do that. But Damonte is like, he's set up to be such a hard carry of like clutch. It's like, all right, dude, you're our fucking faker. Like you get the perfect pick. You get the perfect pick for this situation. And like, you're going to be the one that's going to carry it. Damonte, go out there and get him. And like, every time it's like, oh, he's got like 1 kill and he did like 13 damage for the rest of the game. He's down 40 CS. Okay, we lose. Like it just never seems good to me. It's never like, oh shit, oh fucking Damonte got his Kiana. This game's fucking done. Like I never feel like that. I'm just like, oh, all right, he's probably gonna be all right, I guess. I don't know.
But have you had that feeling with Pole Belter? You're like, Pole Belter got Corky. All right, like.
All right,
no,
he's just gonna sit in lane and he's not gonna ask for resources.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess it's more just like, I guess this is kind of where maybe I have some bias. It's just I just feel like Pobelter is a better player than Damonte. Like if I were starting a team, I would just think that Pobelter would be better than Damonte.
Absolutely, I would agree with that. Where it's like if I had the choice between the two, I would pick Pobelter, but that's because he has a history of at least being good at some point, right? So like I exclude that in my lists because I feel like if I'm giving it for the split, it has to be just solely for this split.
Mm-hmm. Well,
which is a little hard to like remove bias.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also just that like Pobelter, like I know him more player, like I know his strengths, his weaknesses. Like he does die in lane. Like that's always been kind of a thing. Like he's always had bad lane deaths. Even at Worlds last year, he had bad laning deaths where he'd play Ryze into Syndra and just like I forget who it was. It was either BDD or I forget who it was, but he would just get like clobbered in lane sometimes. Like that happens. But I feel like he's at least like trying to make things happen. Where it's like I feel like other players just kind of sit there and like will slowly lose. I feel like Damonte is like almost like a KDA player. That's how I see Damonte. He's like a KDA player, but not a KDA player that's good enough to carry the game. Yeah, it was UCal. Yeah, UCal just like bodied him.
Jeez, UCal. All right, so that is our first ever face check tier list in the mid lane. Got our discrepancies up there. Got a good talk around.
Wait. You have some explaining to do, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. I'll put it back up.
Put that list back up there.
I was like, all right, maybe I'll get away.
You're gonna say the Ryu thing, right?
Why the fuck is Ryu?
Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with Ryu in your tier list? Hello.
Okay.
Above Frog.
Okay. So
that's insane.
We talked about taking value in, and Froggen. Although probably if we just rank them, yes, Froggen's better than Ryu. I like. Let me start with Power of Evil. I like Power of Evil there because he does his job. He's one of those players I think we take for granted. You know, I talk about players that we just take for granted that they just do stuff. Like the best cases, like Bjergsen. You know, Bjergsen we take for granted because he's great. That's why he's going to be an MVP, but he's always going to be great. I think we do that for Power of Evil, but on like a lower level. He's not going to feed you the game, and he can hard carry if it gets too late. Those are all things that we can rely on, rest our hat on, and I value that consistency. The Ryu Froggen thing. All right, so it's more like we saw what 100 Thieves was like when our favorite player SillyGo is in. But Ryu comes in, and he's been so consistent, and I feel like...
Oh, it's because Ryu's replacing SillyGo. Okay, you know what?
Did you... Wait.
Okay, yeah. You're...
Daniel, with that reasoning, did you see Golden Guardians without Froggen? Did you... Wait, you weren't there! You weren't there for Golden Guardians without Froggen!
Wait,
how does this explanation make sense?
Wait. So with Froggen, right? With Froggen, fantastic player, but it does stump some of the rest of the map. It stumps your superstar
Definitely,
on the bottom side of the map. It stumps Hanser. You get inconsistency out of contracts, and you can see what the heights are. And I think the heights of that squad are last split. That's what I think it is. The heights of that squad are last split. I don't see how this team gets to be a top 3, top 2 team playing around Froggen. I don't see it.
Really?
Yes.
Wait.
It's because the other pieces suck.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
who-
I mean,
how-
your bot
are
lane
you-
it's so hard every game. Like, what can you do?
if you play around any other lane, you're gonna be 7th or 8th. Like, yeah, you're
mean,
not gonna get
like-
4th by playing around Froggen right now, but you're fucking not gonna get 7th or 8th.
I'm telling you, I have a lot of experience playing with inting bot lanes, and the game is just well. I feel like also like Froggen doesn't even take like that many resources as much as you would think, right?
As much as
Like,
he used to, for sure.
it feels like contracts literally just ints the game in other lanes like almost every single time. Like when I think about like the games that contracts looks really bad in, it's always like, all right, dude, you're playing Lee Sin, and then he goes bot and tries to gank bot lane like 50 times and then gets like one flash and then he's just down 2 levels. It's always that type of shit. Where it's never like I feel like when Froggen syncs up with his jungler, it's like almost always a kill. You know, even when contracts is inting the game, every now and then they'll be able to get a kill. Like I remember that same Lee Sin game. Lestat, like as soon as he hit level 6, Froggen just ults the mid laner and gets contracts like back into the game. I feel like there's just like a lot of success when you play around Froggen. And just the way I see the tier list, I see like there's the top 3 mid laners, right? Like those are like the chunk. It's like Bjergsen, Jensen, Niski. If you put anyone else in the top 3, you're fucking trolling, right?
Yeah.
And then I feel like there's like the next like bit of like good performing mid laners that are just not as good as the top 3, which would be like Crown, Froggen,
Power of Evil.
Power of Evil.
yeah. And then I'd say like Ryu is like above, and then you have like the bottom 3 that are just playing bad, right? Pobelter, Demonte, and Phoenix are just playing downright bad all the time. And then Ryu's like he's consistent, but he never like does anything impressive. He just doesn't lose you the game.
Yeah,
He's
I
not
think,
SillyGo.
Okay.
I think there's the top echelon, and then there's the crown bar, and then there's the bottom echelon, and there's the Ryu bar, where Ryu is not like bad enough to be in that bottom area, but he's not good enough to be like right in the middle. And the crown is not good enough to be in that top echelon, but he's not bad enough to be included with that mid like pack, in my opinion. So I think that's kind of like where the separations are.
Well, I was thinking of it like a fantasy football draft. If you guys played fantasy before, there are players that are really good, but if you build around that team, like you build that team around it, you get stunted elsewhere. And I think I value that. I'm a person that values that. And if you have Froggen, you have to have certain types of players to build around. And I don't like that kind of restriction. Whereas
I don't even know if that's true or if he's just been on bad teams a bunch. Like that, I've thought about
that's a
that
good
myself.
point. That's a good point.
He's not as flexible as the other players that we talked about on the upper, like Niski, Bjerg, Jensen. Definitely not as flexible and multi-dimensional as them. But even in that one dimension, like Froggen's really fucking good. And it's not he's incapable when he does play the other styles. It's just worse than his control mage style.
All right, so that's my explaining. I feel like I at least got to explain it a little bit.
Okay.
All right, well, thanks for calling me out. That's our tier list. We'll do it again next week. Make sure to hit us up on Twitter and comments send all the hate.
What are we doing next week? What's the next tier list?
I want to do
We'll
jungle
roll.
next.
Jungle?
Yeah, jungle.
All right, let's go. We'll
All
do
right,
jungle.
yeah, jungle
I was like,
tier
as
list
long as
next
it's not AD carry right now, because that's a fucking shit show. Like,
Yeah,
good God.
we can't do 80 carry yet because
80
he
carry
definitely
is
hasn't
so
subbed
hard.
in for sneaky yet. That's all. All right, let's go.
AK is so hard right now.
like legitimately,
Keith
80,
hasn't come in for FBI yet. You know, like
Shit.
those things haven't happened. We know it's gonna happen.
80 carries is gonna be so hard because like even the top 80 carries are like not playing well, and then the bottom 80 carries you're like, but they're still worse. So
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my God.
it'd be so hard to do 80 carry right now. I have no clue where I'd put Sneaky in a tier list.
Yeah.
Like, because you don't want to include like previous performances, but like, how do you make it Sneaky at like 8th? Like, how do you do that? It feels so
Sneaky,
bad. to do.
Sven, right? Like, where are you gonna put these guys?
Like, based on this split, you have to say that Cody Sun has performed better than Sneaky, right? Like,
That's
ha-
such a
that's just
yikes.
fact.
What a world.
But
What
it just
a world we
feels
live
so weird to say that. Like, I can't put a tier list and write Cody Sun above Sneaky. Like, it just feels like I'm
Blasphemy.
something. Yeah, it just feels fucked up.
in. All right, so that was one of our new segments. We're rolling out a lot of new segments here. Here's another new segment that we're going to be doing for you guys. Dom has been asking for this one for a while. It's for all you plebs that are still up right now supporting your favorite streamer that lives in the US. We're going to head on over to LEC and talk a little bit about the LEC here. So shout out to my fellow shoutcasting buddies and friends. You get to hear Dom and Loco and Zyrene's insight because I'm not up to date on this one. I guess the big news from last week is that Fnatic lost to Rogue. So Rogue is living up to their potential of beating TSM 8 times in a row. But then fed that one away. They fed that one away to losing to Misfits, who Misfits, only 3 wins in the season, have beaten Rogue.
And it was their
times.
academy team. It was their academy team. So this is exactly why I think that Splice coach Duke is so fucking delusional. Because if you look at a team like Rogue, right? They are the hallmark of inconsistency. They have good wins, right? They have 2 good wins, right? Origin win and Fnatic win. Great fucking wins. They beat 2 teams and they played really well in those games. But then you look at them like literally the next day they play versus an academy team and just get dicked. It's like, oh shit, Dan is literally TF Blade when he's doing unranked to master and like fucking like silver yellow. Like Dan is suddenly Faker. Like this team is so inconsistent. Sure, on their best, yeah, if they played every single game like they played versus Origin and TSM played every single game like they've played in LCS like recently, sure, they could maybe win 8 out of 10. But if you look at the team itself, Rogue, and you look at their losses, and it's like, okay, they get 1 good win, and then it's like, oh, fucking lost to like a 7th place team. It's like, oh shit, you lost to like Schalke, and then or you lost to fucking Misfits before they even changed the roster, where you're losing to a 10th place team twice in the split. I think they have a loss to either XL or one of the other.
It's SK.
Oh yeah, SK and Vitality, which are also like 2 of the teams that are not performing well in LEC as well. So it's like this team is so wildly inconsistent, and they're a bunch of young players. That's literally like what people think about young players, is that they in general are inconsistent players. And based on how they've played, you can't say they beat anyone 8 out of 10. I don't even know if they could beat Misfits Academy 8 out of 10 games. Honestly, like based off that, I mean, they lost once, right? If they play that, are they winning the next 9? Are they winning the next 8? Like who the fuck knows? Like that shit is kind of is crazy to me. Like it's just not a consistent team.
The thing is, even with like Rogue beating OG and Fnatic, like usually when teams beat like top tier teams, when bottom teams beat top tier teams, people are like, oh, let's not overhype them. Like let's wait until they show more consistency. Like it's just 2 games. Like that's the usual response to like a bottom tier team beating 2 top tier teams. But like right now for Rogue, I don't know why, but like people went the other way. They're like, Rogue is the fucking greatest. Like Rogue is better than TSM. Like it's the pendulum swing is just so far towards the other side.
Yeah, I mean, just think about this. They haven't won 8 games in LEC to this point, including Spring. They have not won 8 games so far. So you're playing with a team that's this bad. How the fuck are they going to win 8 out of 10 versus anyone? They can't win 8 out of 10 versus the bottom teams in their own league. Like, I don't think that there's any world where they can beat any team 8 out of 10. They're just not a consistent team. Sure, their highs are really high, but their lows are really low as well, which is, yeah, to me, why that team is just like, probably like I don't even think they're gonna make playoffs, to be honest. I think they're gonna like end up in like 7th or 8th in LEC. If they get into playoffs, they're losing first round. So I don't know. I'm just so not hype on Rogue. Like I've looked at their games and I was like, oh, maybe I was. That's what I thought about the Fnatic game. Then I saw the Misfits game. I'm like, nope, definitely wasn't wrong about this one. This team fucking. You never know what you're getting when you get Rogue on the Rift. I'm telling you,
dude. The Baron was actually disgusting. They lost. What is it? Baron. I think it was 3v5. They lost Baron. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, no, there's no way. Like, everybody's saying stuff like they don't have to be the best. They just have to be better than TSM. And I'm like, but they aren't. When you watch their games, like they literally are not better than TSM.
Yeah.
And I understand there's gonna be salty people out there. Look, I'm a dude who just put Bjergsen 3rd on his mid lane tier list. Like, I'm not high on TSM, bro. Like, but they're still not as good as TSM.
Yeah, I don't even like. I'm not even saying that Rogue can't beat TSM in a series. I'm just saying 8 out of 10 is so ridiculous. Like you can't take a team that's so wildly inconsistent and then expect them to beat anyone that much. You can't win that much when you just have monumental lapses in judgment all the time. And this team just they don't have the veteran players that are going to like guarantee that consistency. I feel like all teams that end up being super consistent are like the veteran teams. Like you look at teams like TL, right? Like that team is just super consistent because all the players know what they're doing, so they're so synced up in what goes on. But a lot of these players are completely like new to LCS. Like Larson is new, Inspired is new, Finn is new. Like all these players are fucking new, so they're gonna have bad games. And it's like I don't feel like they're the team. Like they're the team when everything clicks, they know how to fucking snowball. They're a bunch of talented fucking players, right? Like you have top level European talent in that team individually, but as a team, these are not players that understand what to do. The only veteran on that team is Vander, right? I mean, I guess when Woolite plays, sure, but he's like been playing academy for the last like 4 years or some shit. Like I can't really say that he's gonna be the veteran leader of that team as well. I don't know.
Oh my god. TSM versus Rogue.
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Even if they're better than TSM, like winning 6 out of 10. That's not what was said. 7 out of 10. That's not what it's 8 out of fucking 10. That's so many. That's like not just beating a team. That's like shit stomping a team.
Yeah. Like I mean, look, Misfits Academy was not prepared to play LCS all this time. Like they were doing a 7-man. Like you have to think about what Misfits was doing, right? It's not like Misfits was like training 2 different teams and only fighting them against each other. They were trying to incorporate a 7-man roster originally, where they were having Correa and Leader sub in for sub in over and over for Febby
and Max. Yeah.
So they wanted to just keep on like trying different things. I think they ran like Febby and Correa game. Like they're trying different opportunities over and over again, and so they're not even like hardcore scrimming with their academy team over and over again, and that's like their main team. So when you're losing to a team like that, like how could you possibly think that it's like, oh, we're like a top team? It just doesn't make sense.
Dude, what do you think about the whole Misfits Academy situation? Like benching all 5 players and putting in your academy team, and it's not to like be like, oh, the season is over, we're gonna give our academy guys a try. It's the season isn't over, and we think we have a better shot.
Oh wait, okay. Guys. So everyone in the chat is super confused. The team that I'm calling Misfits Academy is the team that was Misfits Academy that played in LCS as Misfits LEC team.
Why are people getting confused about that? What?
Because they're like no, that was an EU Masters. People don't understand what I'm saying. The team that I'm calling Misfits Academy is the Leader, Dan, fucking Correa team with Neon. Yeah, that's with Hiva. That's the team that I'm calling Misfits Academy because that was Misfits Academy. That was Misfits Academy in the French league up until this last week.
I mean, so what do you think about that? Them putting in all 5 to compete in the season. They think their actual roster is fucking shit, and they need to put in the academy team, and they think that's going to be better.
I mean, I think they just blew up the team. They're just like, our main team just has no, like, it just failed project. We tried to build a super team, didn't work out. Might as well give these, like, I think that they're just done with the season. They're like, we're not getting relegated either way because it's franchising. So we're just going to give like players like Leader, players like Dan, players like Correa, who obviously Correa has played competitive for a while, but he's just like being reintroduced to like Premier Leagues, whereas before he played in Turkey and then he was playing some national leagues before that. They're giving those players time because they want to see if they can like get a beast, like maybe they don't end up with this same exact team that they have right now. Maybe they end up getting some better players. Maybe they don't get an 80 carry that sells his Essence Reaver in the middle of the fucking game. Like who knows? Who knows?
That was a bug. You saw that, right? That was a bug.
Yeah. I'm just fucking trolling. But like I think the players that are really potentially valuable to Misfits are the ones that they were giving LEC time before, just Correa and Leader. Like they want to see if one of those players can actually shape up.
Oh man,
dude. Mocha, you're the former coach. What do you think about it?
I think they must have scrimmed internally also, and something must have happened because now Jesse is on stage also. It feels like almost like a usurping, like where the academy team like kind of went on a revolution and they're like, yeah, fuck the main team, we're gonna play. Because I cannot believe there is not a single player from the main team of Misfits that is better than or that is worse than all 5 of the academy players, because they just put in straight 5 academy players. It's not like, oh, we're gonna keep Hansama, oh, we're gonna keep Soaz, or like, oh,
we're gonna try this bot lane out. Yeah,
like they're just like all 5 academy players. Like that's fucking crazy. Like how the fuck, like holy shit.
I think it's also that like from what I understand, Misfits Academy is probably the best academy team. So it's like, how good are they? Like like apparently as a team they're doing things better than the main team. Apparently they had a positive win rate in scrims, sources have said. So maybe I think their mentality was like, all right, let's just see, this team is actually a functional team together as far as we can tell. Let's see like how good they are. We don't really know if they like could they potentially maybe even get us a playoff spot in LEC? Who knows, you know?
Is that giving up on the team, do you think? Giving up on the season?
The main team's already gave up on. Like, main team is done. Like, and Misfits, like, even if they make playoffs, let's say they do make playoffs, some miracle happens and they make playoffs, they didn't hit their original goal from the start of the year. Their original goal from start of the year was to probably win a split and also go to Worlds. Like, when they put that roster together, their goal isn't, oh, let's barely make playoffs. That was never their goal.
Yeah, so no one had them, like, every single person that I saw tier list from, myself included, had them top. Yeah. It was like G2, Fnatic, Misfits, and then like, who do you think is fourth? And like, some people were like Vitality. They had a pretty good like end of the split. Oh, maybe like this Schalke lineup looks like it could do something. Maybe Origin could do something. Like people, but no one had Misfits being the worst team in the league. Absolutely no one did. So yeah, I don't know. It's fucking crazy that they actually underperformed so hard. I think that's like literally like you know, we were talking about the MikeYoung thing where it was like they came into something so hot, like where the expectations were so far off the reality. That's what this is, where the expectations for Misfits were just insanely far off the reality of the players. I don't even know what to think about, like why it went so badly. I still don't know what to think about that. Like, I don't know if the players were just extremely overrated or what, but I just can't imagine like a world where the players are still all as good as we thought they were and they perform this bad. Like, you'd think that they would at least do better than this based off individual skill. Like, they'd at least be like a 5th or 6th place team based off just having like this level of talent, right? Like Maxlor, I think Maxlor is actually pretty bad. He's one of the people that I've fallen off the hardest on, who I think is actually bad now. Gorilla is somebody who I lost so much respect for over this last year. I was like, damn, like I thought you were one of the best supports in the world. And then now I don't even know if you're like still good or like still a competitive player, or like what your deal is. Yeah. And then like Soaz as well. Like I thought that Soaz was really like kind of assert himself again as like one of the best top laners in EU, and it just doesn't feel like he's playing at that level. Like recently, it just like feels like his laning is kind of weak. He just kind of gets behind a lot of the time, and I never see him like make the big Soaz plays that we've seen before. So yeah, feels definitely way different.
Anything to add, Zyrene? Do you think about the whole upheaval of the roster?
No, everything's pretty much been said, like in terms of what I agree with. I just think that it's the failed experiment and they're just blowing it up because at this point, you know, are you really going to be able to get everything in gear for playoffs if you even hit it? I don't think so. I do wonder if it's maybe a little too soon for that. Like maybe they should have stuck with the roster, but it just showed like barely any signs of getting better. So it's just the faith in the players and individual skill. And the question is whether or not you pull the plug now or if you just do it later when, you know, they're out of playoff contention. Because, you know, getting playoffs right now, I think is like 4 wins. Like Rogue is like 4-6 or something.
Yeah. They're not that far up right now. And they're not eliminated. None of the bottom teams are eliminated, not even Excel yet.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, they're 1 game away from playoff contention. EU is so tight right now.
Yeah, which is why I'm like, I don't know if this is the right time to do it, and I don't know if I agree with the blow up, but I guess they're trying something to try and spice it up, but you still have a lot of games left.
I feel like they're just trying to like farm value on their players. Like they're hoping that they get some like players that are going to be worth something, and then later on, like it's like, okay, maybe we can trade leader or sell leader or something like that.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's confusing to me. But I mean, everything's confusing to me in that regard because it's like the players were supposed to do better. Now they aren't. So what do you kind of do with this roster? And then they swap the whole thing out.
I have a question. What do you guys think is going to happen to like some of the long veteran players? Like, do you think Gorilla, like Suz, do you think any of these players are going to retire? Fed Bivin, like.
I know for a fact Gorilla is not retiring. Gorilla is going to, play more. He has
for more options.
A year and a half or 2 years until Army, and he is definitely going to want to play League before he goes.
What's left for Soaz?
Get back to a championship level team.
Do you think any championship level team would want him?
I think he'd be an upgrade for Splice. Maybe Splice and Shop, like Odo and Vizitachi. Those are the only 2 that I would say is like weak enough for Soaz to even contend for.
I just feel like those players have looked better than Soaz so far. Like this year, I feel like Soaz just hasn't done anything to really. I don't know.
I'm trying to
assert
think.
himself as like a top player.
I'm trying to think. Like you look at G2 Fnatic, Splice, Schalke, Origin. G2 Fnatic, Origin have really good top laners, so I don't think he could ever even knock on those doors. Like Splice and Schalke are the only two teams where he could actually knock on the doors.
I mean, I would take IWDominate or Viz for him personally.
Then he really doesn't have a spot on a top tier team.
Yep, that's what I think the reality of it is. I feel like the only way for him to get back now, that's the thing is like once you have a performance like this year, like how Misfits has done, even if it isn't his fault, like he has to reprove himself before I think one of those teams will take him.
Jesus, maybe Thoaz 10A.
Maybe.
That's one of the roles we're like fine with importing mid and top. That's like that might be an option if he doesn't get a top tier offer in EU.
CLG. Just throwing it out there. All right, we're starting to bump up against 2 hours. We have 2 more topics left. Let's go to what Dom was doing right before this and wasn't able to hit it. Teamfight Tactics. So it seems like everyone's running the assassin ninja comp, but didn't quite work out for Dom.
Yep.
What's up with Teamfight Tactics this week for you guys? Ranked obviously out. Where's everyone at? Loco, go ahead. You go first. You're freaking out.
I'm pretty sure I'm the highest. Maybe Zyrene can beat me.
I have not played because I'm actually disgusted.
I've only like
right now.
25 or 26 games. Well, how much have you played?
I played about 40.
Okay. Do you still play League or you just play TFT now?
Just TFT. No League at all.
Yeah.
Damn.
Crazy. Yeah, I have not put in as much.
Okay. I hit plat 2.
Oh, nice.
No.
Oh my God, I'm so close to diamond. I can feel it.
I don't like playing it right now. There's like, I love the game, but I fucking hate playing ranked. Like everybody, of course, in ranked, you have to play to win, right? But I feel like the ways to win right now just do not feel fun to me. So I literally troll myself in games where I'm like, I am not going to, these things are handed to me. I'm like, I'm not going to play this. I'm not, because if I wanted to like climb, I just play the fucking like assassin shit that's handed me every game, transition to Yordles if it matters, like, because that's the new meta and self-correcting. But I just find myself in games where I'm like, no, fuck it. I'm gonna try gunslingers here. I'm gonna try like demons, and I just don't. It loses its fun really quickly because there aren't enough things that are good. Like when I play auto chess, it's like there's like 5 to 6 compositions that are good, and they're good at different times too. And people get knocked out of the game before, like, you know, you can potentially get dragons and things like that. So I really want the balancing. Thank God it's every fucking week to fix this stuff, because it's way too prevalent, and I hope that with ranked, it can stay fun for me, because it's not right now. And I was really enjoying TFT.
I'm pretty bored of it already, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I like at first I was like, dude, I'm gonna like this, and then rank came out. I was like, I'm gonna hard grind. I mean, partly I was in the hospital for the first 2 days when it came out, so it lost some of the hype, because like, you know, like when it comes out, you want to be like one of the first people on it, right?
Yeah.
So then like, by the time I started playing, it's like you already have people that were like fucking Diamond 1 or Diamond 2, and it's like, okay, well, it's like worthless to like even like grind at this point. Like everyone else is just like so far ahead. But I don't know. It feels like everyone's doing the same thing. Like when I watch like Toast and like all these other streamers, like they're even doing like the meta comps. It doesn't feel like anyone has like good answers. So like I don't know if the game is actually just figured out already, and it's like there are only really 3 comps. There's like the Volibear comp, the Yordle comp, and the
Assassin.
Or the Assassin comp, or like if there's just like nothing, or if there's just a bunch of hidden stuff and people just aren't good enough at it to figure it out. And because all the top streamers and all like the top players are saying these things are so OP, people will just keep on doing it.
So Brawlers and Ninja Assassin are the 2 most popular comps, like you said, and the Yordles kind of popped up because like Yordles can beat Assassins and Yordles can beat the Brawlers. And then the Ninja Assassins, they started stacking the fuck out of Akali with double AP items, where the Akali starts one-shotting the Yordle, so now that doesn't counter anymore. So there is like a little bit of metagaming going on, but right now the meta is like really, really narrow, like you guys said.
Yeah.
I mean, is that good for the game, you think?
I mean, eventually it's going to have to change, right? And one thing is, people have gotten so good at these auto battler games, and their information is so readily available. Like if you do one thing, like everyone's doing one thing. So I think this kind of game is gonna need constant changes to switch it up. And auto chess, I'm not sure if you guys played it from the start, but at the start, it was fucking garbo. It wasn't this like auto chess ended at a really good balance point, but it wasn't like this like for start of auto chess. So eventually, I feel like it's gonna get there for TFT also, where the balance is a lot better and it is a lot more playable.
I'm just frustrated, dude. I was so high on this game, and then immediately, like, rank comes out, and it's all like kind of solved right now, and that's not fun. Because it feels like anybody could climb rank right now if they literally force the top 3 comps over and over and over again. That's how it feels to me. Ranked is not like a reflection of skill at the moment or creativity.
Well, isn't it just a matter of time before there's enough champions that are out, maybe even an item that gets introduced where that's the variety that's necessary? Like, Loki, you're talking about it took them some time. How much time did it take for it to hit that point? Do you remember?
Like a few months, I would say like 2 months. And then I wasn't in auto chess from the very start, but I heard from other people how shit it was. And when I played, there were a few problems. And then when they started making changes, like the game got better and better with every change.
Yep.
What do you guys think about like how the game is structured? Because I always felt like the point of like a game like this was that like there was just going to be more diversity in terms of like there wouldn't be like best things to go, but like people would just be trying to like put together the best like overall comp. So you wouldn't be going for like, oh, I'm going like ninja assassins and like that's what I'm going, and I'm gonna get 3 assassins and 4 ninjas and 3 element. Like it was kind of like, maybe like 2 demons could be good here. Oh, I got like 2 knights and like 2 range. Like you'd kind of like there'd be more like smaller synergies, and you'd build a comp more based off that instead of just like hard rushing. It's like I feel like every time I go brawlers, every time I go volibear, I go brawlers, right? Every time I go like ninja assassins, I'm going the same, like I'm going like Pike, then Akali and Zed, and then fucking like the same double glacial elementalists and a Kennen or whatever. You know, it just feels like everything is so like
linear.
you go, yeah, it's so linear, and you go so many of each one. Like it doesn't feel like there's any like variety in terms of like, oh, like let me throw in like a couple Imperials to this comp. It feels like you either go all the way with something or you're done. Like you never go like 3 Yordles, right? It's like, oh, I'm going 6 Yordle comp. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, because I feel like the 2 biggest issues I have with the game are there are no real like small amount of unit synergies that are strong in like late game, like Naga, right? Like ways to counter and tech against certain comps, and to change just slight parts of your composition, because like there's usually wiggle room where you can have like a tech unit. Like most Dota compositions are like 6-7 unit comps, and then you can add on 1 to 2 more, and hitting level 9 in auto chess is like pretty frequent, right? It's like 8, 9, right? You can kind of get there. Here, it's like everybody's gonna stop at 7 or 8. Like getting to 9 is like very, very rare, because the game is just gonna be over, right? So there's more units you can have in auto chess, typically on average in most compositions, and there's like good low unit synergies that you can have, and kind of like kind of put things together and even add units that don't have synergies just because they're good tech units. And I think items are way too strong. Like when you play auto chess, it's like getting an item that even like turns into another item is like fucking rare. Like you're just like, oh yeah, maybe I'll get Mask of Madness early, and then you're like, oh great, I made this character really good. But otherwise, you're like, okay, let's put this quarterstaff. All right, just put 2 quarterstaffs on this guy. Okay, I got a cloth armor. Okay, that's gonna go here, and you just put bits and pieces on people. Right? You just give them some stats. They don't turn into anything most of the time. And if they do, you're just really lucky that they do. So
certain items feel like actually OP in TFT.
Absolutely.
Like I don't play the game that much, but like rapid fire cannon just seems like I don't even play the game, and when I see rapid fire cannon, it just seems broken, right? Like it's like it counters everything that you'd want to like use against somebody who is like going to be attacking a lot, right?
Yes.
Like it counters PD, it counters Yordles, it get like, so what, like I don't know, it makes Volibear like just insane. I don't know, it just feels like everything is kind of like, I don't like that when I'm new to something I can already like see a meta. Like I feel like I should just be like so retarded compared to like everyone else and be like, what, Ninja Assassins even works out? But it's like anyone you talk to is like, yeah, Volibear comp, Ninja Assassins, Yordles, like everyone just says the same type of shit, and it's like that seems like it's a poorly made game from that standpoint. Like if everyone thinks the same thing already, either like people are just getting super influenced by the top streamers, or your game has been or your game is just a piece of shit. So one of the two.
Yeah.
Those are pretty big. I just think that it's just not a pretty big difference between the sides there. I think there are a lot of sheep. There's just a lot of sheep, and when you get to play Teamfight Tactics, and right now, good players haven't surfaced to the top, and bad players have the opportunity to play with good players. You get a lot of that, and the content thing. There just isn't enough content in it yet to create these kind of meta shifting things. Like, I think once they get more items and champs, it'll be fine, and you'll get to that place where you can. The other thing that I think they need to buff are some of the class and race like buffs. I think there's some of them that the conversation is always a level 2 or level 3 unit, a leveled up unit, is more valuable than finishing one of the buffs, and except for a couple of them. And I think that should be weighed a little bit more. Make spatula like, okay, now the spatula play feels a little bit better if I have that extra unit, not because this extra unit's dealing more damage, but it helps me complete a set. I think those are two things that they can focus on. But yeah, so Teamfight Tactics, this is the first time where we've been like, hey, it's not in a great state, except Loco, who's so close to being dying.
So I do agree, like, the game isn't that fun, but I love, like, being good at a game and then being able to grind rank, so it feels so fucking, like, just fun to be able to just
Why don't you get good at League?
League is
It's too hard. It's too hard to get good.
No, okay, I could definitely be good at League. I was Masters last year. I was Masters when I really grinded, and then at the end of the grind, I just felt so empty, and I like didn't like feel good about myself. I'm like, holy fuck! Like, I just played like 15 games of League a day to make sure I can get Masters, and I feel like shit afterwards. Like, what did I do this for? Like, League is not fun to play.
Wait, you're playing 15 games of Teamfight Tactics to get Diamond right now? Like, is it
that's fun.
Thing?
Like, TFT is fun. TFT is
really.
Fun.
I think TFT is just a worse game than League. Personally, I think that I would never be able to play as much TFT as I played League in my life. Like, nowhere close. It just seems like, and it also seems like a game that takes way less skill than League. Like, I honestly think that
different skill.
I think it just takes less skill. I think that if I played like enough TFT, for example, when I see people hit like rank 1 in League, they're like always normally pretty decent. Mm-hmm. I think that a bunch of these people that are Masters, like, oh, this guy has 28 wins, 121 losses, and he's rank 1 in NA. Is he actually that good? Like, is he better than Dog and like all these people? I don't fucking know. Like, it just seems like TFT just takes less skill overall. Like, there's just more RNG in the game. Like, when I play versus, like, this is how I see it, right? If I think that it would be easier for me to get Challenger in TFT than it would be for like Dog to get Challenger in League. If we both start at the same time.
Yep, 100% agree with that.
League has more depth, and you need to.
I agree. Well, no, it's just more skill. That's like that. That is what skill is, right?
Say it, Loco. I know you're holding back right now. Say it, Loco. I see you, dude.
It's a different kind of skill, but I think overall, does it test less amount of skill? Yes, but it's also different. I'll say it is less skillful, but it also says it tests a different kind of skill.
That was not it, Loco. I'm disappointed. That was way too diplomatic of you. Speaking of being diplomatic, we're about to hit the 2-hour mark, and we're about to hit the newest segment, the best segment that we've all been waiting for. You guys have been waiting for. And I before I unveil it, I need to say we are not going to shit on people for no reason.
Oh my God, you're such a justice warrior.
But we are righting wrongs here in the past because our favorite player here on Facecheck is obviously SillyGo, right? Of 100 Thieves LCS squad, now on 100 Thieves Academy. And I think we gave him too much of a bad rep, right? He's a solid Academy player that got to play in the LCS and was obviously...
Oh, you're going to hate what I'm going to say.
And so the reason why we're coming back to it is because I feel like we unfairly pooped on him really hard at a level that he just isn't at. He had a great opportunity, and nobody's going to say, no, I'm not going to play in the LCS. So he had the opportunity to do that. And, he's just not there yet. But I still think he's a good player. Since going back down to Academy, he's 10-2. And in this last week alone, has a KDA of 4.7, defeating number 1 Cloud9 Academy. And a friend of the show, Golden Glue. So we're going to have a segment called SillyGo Watch, where we keep up to date with one of the best Academy players in the league. Hopefully send him some love, get him some fans.
I still think it should be called SillyGo Back to Academy,
So this week, SillyGo. So we're going to check in every week with how SillyGo's doing. And I'm going to be a fan. Always be a fan. We're going to cover it. We're going to strategically, tactically break down how he's done. But, again, no unfair shitting on people if it's unfair.
I won't unfair shit on him. I think so I thought I might be biased because I shit on him so much when he was in LCS and I didn't really watch many of his academy games. So I watched his academy games and I think he's still bad. I don't know. I just think he's just I think he's just an overall bad player. Like if you look at how he plays, like versus Strumpus, for example, like Strumpus is not a top tier academy mid laner at all, but he's just like, they're just even farming. I would even say Strumpus is like getting a little bit of an advantage there. And just in team fights, I don't think he does much. I honestly think he just gets carried by Anda and Someday in academy over and over again. Like I think that Someday is just way, way better than every other top laner in academy. I don't even think it's fucking close.
Yeah.
And Anda is one of the best academy junglers as well. I just think that he is. I have no idea. Like when I watch him play, it's just like criminal to me that he got to see time in LCS because he's not even good in academy. He's like an average academy player, I would say.
What about you, Zareen?
Literally, I agree because I don't think that academy has at almost any point been like a good indicator of skill. Like casting challenger and stuff, it's like very rarely is there a player that like pops off and then is still good, right? I think the only exceptions to that were like Dardoch from what I saw. I was like the only time that I really vividly remember somebody like being capable of popping off in challenger and being like, this guy is good. So I never think it's a good indicator of skill. But if you suck in it, then absolutely you're bad, right?
So it's a good indicator of not skill.
Yes, it's a good indicator of how bad you are, but never a good way to measure how good somebody is.
Go ahead, Loco.
I went back and watched a few of the games because we were doing SillyGo watch. The only thing I noticed is how better Someday is than the other top laners in academy. He's literally 100 CS up versus every single top laner 20 minutes into the game. And SillyGo is just an up and down academy player. Like he has good games, he has bad games, but the core of the team is just Someday like fucking grabbing everyone by like the neck and like just carrying them over the finish line.
Didn't Someday get like solo killed twice by Revenge?
But it's just weird. Like he gets solo killed at such weird times. Like he'll get solo killed, but he'll like it almost looks like he's like doing it on purpose. It's like, oh, I got solo killed, but look at this wave, and the wave is super fucked for the enemy top laner. Yeah. Then he just somehow ends up like up 100 CS all the time.
He got better wave management, 100% for sure.
All right,
like, that's where the CS differential is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, the segment's not called Someday Watch, guys. It's SillyGo Watch. I'm just pointing out SillyGo 10-2. He's won 8 games in a row, and he's getting better. That's
but like this is
getting
really
better.
Yeah. I don't even know if he's getting better. I think that if you put like Strumpus on 100T, like the game looks the same. Like I don't think that he is. I don't even know if he's even an average. Like he could be even a bad mid laner in academy. I just think that 100T has such a good like top jungle that it doesn't fucking matter. Like it really just doesn't matter.
Well,
it's kind of funny because like 100 Thieves had like not good top jungle in LCS, but then you take players like Anda and Someday, you move them to academy. It's like they're fucking fakers.
Yeah,
shit, these guys are good.
Somebody in chat was like, "Well, Anda's 10-2 as well, man." Like I'm like, shit, like. No.
Good point. It's a good point. To be fair, though, that Cloud9 Academy game, that was a big game for them this year, this week in Super Week, where they played 3 games instead of 2. It was against Kumo and Svenskeren. So, yes, Kumo and Someday, not on the same level, but we're talking about MVP candidate Svenskeren against Anda. You take Svenskeren every time, and it's Golden Glue, who is, we would consider, one of the better mid laners. That was the game that SillyGo carried. He was 6-2 on Azir, took care of business there. So, again, looking on the bright side here, can't just be pooping on SillyGo all day. We'll check in with him as they are moving into the final week of play next week and then playoffs and finals. So we've got at least 3 more segments of SillyGo Watch.
All I'm saying is those people that watch the 100 Thieves games on stream, just... You guys all saw me there. I sat there in the chat and flamed SillyGo with you guys and watched all the fucking games just for this segment. All right, so that's all I want to say. It's like you guys all saw me there. I'll be there next week, dude. If you guys want to watch those games with me, just show up to the 100 Thieves Academy game. I'll be in the chat flaming him. So
we should do a viewing party where 4 of us just go to a 100 Thieves facility and we watch 100 Thieves games together.
I don't know if SillyGo would want to meet me in person. I'll be honest.
You know what? I believe you would. Max, stand up to this bully. You got it, dude. You're getting better.
Max. His name was Max. I don't know what his name was. I don't even want to know his name. I don't want to like. I gotta just view him as a player because if I view him as a
You don't
person,
want to humanize him.
Yeah,
if I humanize him, then I'm just being too much of a dick. But if I keep him as just like a player, it's just a name on a screen to me. You know, I don't even like seeing his picture on the screen right now. You know, it makes me feel bad already.
Too bad. All right. So SillyGo Watch will be on here for another couple more segments. This was the longest show that we've done so far on Facecheck. Let us know how we did. Hit up at Loco, at Degon, at Liquid Dom, and Zyrene. Make sure you tune in next week for our next episode. Thanks a lot, guys, for myself and everyone else. Thanks so much. We'll catch you next week.